Isn't that some catchy music? Hey everyone, I am She-Wolf, also known as the First Lady of Xbox and the community PR go-to person. I am your host of the 26th episode of the Console Corner. Last week we talked about the Comic-Con, the new game of Cube, and so much more, so make sure you check that out. This week on this show, we are going to be talking about We Happy Few, the summer update, and a lot more. So let's get right into this and start off with the panel of this week. One guy you may all know and also writes articles for Real Gaming Media, and also this first time on the Console Corner, he can drive a tank like a beast, Sir Tommy Gunn.
Oh, crap. I just screwed up.
Awesome, definitely. Next, back straight from the Halo Championship Series, Mr. Asthmatic.
On today's Console Corner, so let's get it started!
Oh yeah, for sure. And of course, the most wanted girl on Battlefield 4, and Mooch would call her the Queen of Destiny, Lady Foxfire.
What's up, everybody? Awesome to be here as always.
Definitely. And of course, next, one reviewer who is going to end up taking all the IGN's jobs with his gaming knowledge, Mr. Bearclaw Gaming.
Yeah, as always, I'm not sure about that, but I am glad that everybody is here to spend their Tuesday evening with us. That's great.
Definitely, and we're glad to have you guys. Of course, next we have our very own creepy vlogger, Herbert, Mr. Brutal Knight.
Herbert!
that caught me off guard.
What's
What's up, guys? I'm sitting here plumb in the middle of my 60 square feet, ready to record this beautiful podcast with all you beautiful people. Hello, everybody listening. Let's get to it. I'm gotta finish drinking this beer before we get into it.
I was wondering if he was going to say that. I'm like, the people want to hear it.
I definitely agree. I was
it's
wondering how
happening.
many beers were ahead before we started, but
I've only had 4 since I got on here with you guys, so.
only 4. Anyways, and of course, last but not least, the one who actually gave up his Xbox for 3 days, not being able to play anything, just to show his support to buy the Xbox One S, and of course, always gives that governor seal of approval, himself, Mr. GKB.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, that was painfully the worst 3 days of my life. I couldn't play anything. It sucked so bad. But it was totally worth it. I got the Xbox One S. It's frigging awesome. Also, sorry about the little snafu there, guys. I kind of lost Google Hangouts there for a second, so I had to bring that back up. So sorry if we missed anything there. My apologies. So, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, we only missed Tommy's first ever.
Oh, my God. Do it again. Do it again.
Wait, what? I don't get it. What happened?
Take 2.
He got kicked out, and then he came back.
Yeah, I got kicked out of Hangouts, and then I came back.
People in the chat saying they didn't hear me.
If you guys can hear us now, you should be super jelly because Tommy killed that intro.
Yeah, he did.
I
It was
did, and
amazing.
you'll never hear it again. It's a one-time
You will
deal.
actually, you will hear it again, because I will allow it to be said one more time. The one guy you may all know that writes the article.
Do it. Do it.
I will. Everyone needs to shut up for a minute. Alright, so I'm going to say this one more time before we move on. One guy who writes for Real-Time Gaming Media, a guy we all know in the community, and the first time on the Console Corner, he drives a tank like a boss, Sir Tommy Guns.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, She-Wolf, for introducing me again. And yeah, I do drive a tank like a boss. We pretty much own that fight match. GKB, you're still losing, by the way.
Oh, my God. You
Yeah,
have to
we
bring this up.
did.
Oh.
It's a
I
little bit
still wear
weird.
that crown.
The
That's
first
right.
the first time he did his intro, he gave out his social security number. I guess you guys missed that. But,
I know. Oh, one time only, like I said.
Definitely. It was a moment you will never get back, people. Sorry. But hey, you got a second dose of it, so let's move on. And of course, tonight we have something special for you, a new
We do?
startup. And of course, we're going to let GKB take it away.
All right, what's up, everyone? Yeah, so you know we love the community, and that's what mostly this channel is all about, is giving back to you guys and supporting all of you. So Brutal came up with this great idea that we should showcase a community game clip of the week. where you guys can share the clips. We're going to look them over, pick the best one of that week, and then show it off on the show every single week. So our first clip of the week is for K-Mega 405 with his sick tank kill. Congratulations to him. Here's the clip. Super dope.
That'd be an awesome setup.
And of course, he killed Blades. I'm going to call that out because those two killed me way too much in that
Already doing that
Wrecked
50
it.
watchers.
So there you guys go. That is our clip of the week. It's our first one. Congratulations to K-Mega 405 again. That's awesome. Now these clips can be funny. They can be crazy kills, some awesome achievements. Whatever you guys do, just send it to us, like on Twitter, Xbox. Share them to us, whatever way you guys, and send it to any of us. Like, it doesn't matter. And we'll put them all in a pile there, and we're gonna go through them and vote on them, and then we'll pick one. I'm gonna make a video and all that kind of stuff, so you guys know exactly what to do and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, like anything that you guys want, like anything that you would record, something that you would stop and like look at, and be like, yeah, that's cool. Like, go ahead and submit it. Like, we really want to get like a vast like scope of like everybody out there that's listening. We want to see what you guys like to see, and if you achieve something awesome, submit it, and we'd like to give you some credit for it too. So.
yeah,
Can I submit my one of Titanfall killing She-Wolf, or is that banned?
sure. You can.
Oh,
I knew it.
She was saying that.
Watch. I said that to GKB. I'm like, watch. You're going to see a whole bunch of clips because people are just going to record it and hope that we're going to show my neck getting snapped or something in Titanfall.
Mine with a Titan punching you, squashing your pilot.
I have a whole Twitter archive of my arms being ripped off by She-Wolf and just beating the shit out of me.
I have that too, so don't worry.
Yeah, you've already made all that public, though.
Oh.
You
Of course.
You spiteful person.
Nah, it's okay. Anyways, as always, what we like to do every week, we like to go to the chat and, of course, the panel, and we like to find out what you all have been playing. So, let's go down the line, and, of course, you people in the chat, we love to hear what you guys have been playing this week as well. So, let's start with our guest of the week, Tommy.
So I've been playing actually a bunch of indie titles last week. I played Dungeon Punks. I did a review for that. I got a review
Oh
code.
hell yeah, dude! I cannot
It
wait
was
to
pretty
see a review
good.
on that, 'cause
It-
I've been torn on that game.
It's
So-
pretty fun. If you like the old school brawlers, you'll enjoy it. It's a good co-op brawler game, so I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
I've also been playing Hyper Light Drifter, which is hard but really fun. I love the art style, I
Heck
love the
yeah.
music in it. And those have kind of been the two games I've been focusing on the last week. Some Halo here and there, but that's pretty much it. I've been a lot of Dungeon Punks. I was trying to get that review out as quick as possible.
Nice.
Awesome. And what about you, Asthmatic? What have you been playing this week?
Little Battlefield 4, as always. I spun up some Kerbal Space Program over on the PC. I haven't just picked that up on console yet just because money's tight, saving up for cons. That game is awesome, and if there's anyone out there interested who doesn't have it, it is on Xbox. So that game's going to be super fun to play. I'll probably be streaming it sometime soon.
Looks
But
fun.
yeah, dude, Battlefield as always. That game just absolutely kills it. Can't wait for Battlefield 1. Always.
Definitely. I'm sure everyone's waiting for that Battlefield 1. And of course, what about you, Fox? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I'm with you guys. I'm with Asthmatic on that one. I've been playing Battlefield 4 with my friends and also on game time with you guys. So that was pretty cool. Played with the community. I also played some Rainbow Six, and I streamed it on Twitch, which was like my officially first time streaming and having a lot of people from the community come into the chat. So that was really, really cool. I also played some Guitar Hero this morning, so I'm trying to get back into Guitar Hero live. And
Dude, I want
I
to play.
played a little bit of We Happy Few, but I'll talk about that later.
Sounds great. And of course, super excited to have our dual Twitch streamings going sometime shortly when we eventually start it. Anyways,
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be cool.
That is gonna be cool.
it will. And I believe
I
our
can't
first game is going to be Gears.
Heck yeah.
I think so, but at the same time, I also want to play KI, and I was thinking maybe we could stream it.
Ooh, and you'll watch me probably die because she's probably better at me than that. Anyways,
Aw, we haven't even played yet. I
do
don't
you know
know.
how many people would probably come to watch just to watch me die?
I'll be one of those right here.
I bet you would. All right, guys. So moving on to the next one on this lineup, we got Brutal Knight.
What's up, guys? I've been playing a little bit of Hyper Light Drifter as well. A couple other indie titles. Kind of like Tommy said, I always stock up on indies, so I have something to talk about for indie discussion for you fine people. What else have I been playing? I was playing, for some reason, I hopped on Warframe on PC, so I was running out a little bit of Warframe, and that's about it. I played a little bit of Call of Duty as well, just to get my fix of the competitive shooter style, but in all honesty, man, like Hyper Light Drifter has just captivated me. That game is a little bit of a you'll just wait for that. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
all right. I don't want to go too deep with this right now.
Of course, don't give away any spoilers just yet, people. Let's move on to the last one on. Well, one of the last ones on the list.
Whoa.
It's because I said I'd go down the line, but I always leave you last. And yeah, anyways, Bearclaw, what have you been playing this week?
Let's see. A little bit of Hyper Light Drifter. I kind of wrapped it up earlier last week. A lot of Rainbow Six Siege, so I can afford some of the new characters that came out today. And then today I just played and wrapped up the first episode of Telltale's Batman. So been a little bit busy.
That's awesome. Definitely want to check out that game as well. What about you, GKB? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so this is a salty subject for me again this week because I didn't have an Xbox for like 4 days, so I didn't get to play a whole lot. I did get to play some Hyper Light Drifter, and I'm freaking in love with that game. We'll talk about this later because I'm about to get into it too. But yeah, that's really all I've been really playing.
Awesome. I have been playing Battlefield 4.
You don't sound too confident there. Like,
I have to think about it. I always want to call it Battlefield 1 just because of the new one, but
Yeah, I did that one time.
sadly I didn't get into the alpha, so I haven't been playing that one. And of course, I've been playing We Happy Few. Was also playing Titanfall for the last couple of days just because, well, I do love that game. And of course made my day because I actually had the Titanfall people actually comment on my video, so that was kind of cool, and I was happy.
She got them Twitter connections.
yeah, she does.
Well, not really connections. They just kind of replied.
That's what happens when you have those higher-ups following you.
They were like, "You awesome face," and she's like, "Oh shucks."
They called me Pilot. I was like, what?
Whoa.
How dare you?
I'm sure they call everybody that, but hey. Anyways, so yeah.
Hashtag Twitter goals.
Yeah. So, of course, other than that, just, a few couple of minor indies, but that's really about it. So, I'm sure you guys don't want to hear about all that stuff anymore. Let's move on to the first segment of tonight, and of course, that is the news.
All right, everyone, let's get into our first news topic, and that is the new summer update is live, and just about everyone should have it by now. So how's everybody liking it, and is there anything that people just not liking about it right now? Let's go ahead and start with our, let's go Brutal.
I took my headset off. What was the question?
Wow, really?
Ouch.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, thank you, people. My ear was sweating.
Sometimes you get a hot ear. You need that little water spray.
That hot ear. Yeah, I have a spritzer right here with a fan on me.
How you liking the summer update, man? All these new cool stuff.
I dig it, man. I dig it. I like the the how they've added I'm losing the words I'm trying to say. Like,
Oh Jesus.
Additional management, I guess you can say, of like your already installed games or like games that you want to update, how they've kind of tiered that down to where you can kind of select what you want in particular. I know this is like the big thing that everyone talks about and everyone's always wanted it, and I love the background music thing. Like, I think that's awesome.
That's cool.
I mean, in all reality, I mean, it's minor changes, and it shows that they are listening to like what people really want. The one thing that I still really want that I haven't seen come though is like on like mobile or online game management that I could run through like my Smart Glass app, or to be able to like start downloads, remove games, things like that. That's the number one thing that I really want, because I think like offsite like management of your console would be a really big step up. But overall, I like it a lot. A lot of people in the preview program saw everything that had to offer. So overall, it's good. I mean, it's either way. I don't really feel too strongly either way about it, to be honest.
Yeah, like I was thinking like Cortana, like when we first got like the preview, man, she was not good at all. Like it was just terrible.
Pretty rocky.
Yeah, and like they've been reiterating on her like the whole time. It's like almost every day we were getting like an update.
Well, truthfully though, if you think about it, all of us in the preview program got to experience all this, but it released to like everybody, and so they are actually getting Cortana for the first time. You know, they're getting this app stuff for the first time. So, you know how Bruto said it's just kind of minor. To them, this is huge because they didn't get to play with this for the last few months and actually see where it was going and stuff. So.
I agree.
Yep.
Like I like how she's actually working though now. Like everything I say to her now is, she's like recognizing for the most part. She has some issues with gamer tags, but all in all, she's good. Yeah, background music is not like a big deal for me. I play music on other things, so it's not like a big. I didn't really use it on the 360, so I don't know. I like how they're converging the Xbox One and the Windows Store. I think that's really cool, making like a unified store for everyone. That's where they need to be doing. A lot of their criticism as of late has been the store, so it's good to see that they're fixing that. I've also been playing around a lot with the DVR function, how you can like bring it off the Xbox Live, edit the stuff, and put it back up. I've been messing with that a lot lately, and that's a really cool feature, especially for us like content creators and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I'm liking.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on too that I forgot to say. The seamlessness that they're starting to incorporate between like Windows 10 and Xbox, and kind of bringing them together, like how you can see like even if people are playing Windows games, like playing games on Windows 10, you can see your friends. If they have a Microsoft account, you can see what games they're playing on Windows 10 too. I don't know if that goes for all their games, but I know it's up for at least a few games. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but.
Well, you can also join their parties, too. If you're not actually on your Xbox One, you can join their parties and stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the writing on the wall for the future. I really like...
Choices are what it's all about. Take it,
What about you, Fox?
Oh, I was just gonna jump in and say I'm really enjoying like everything that we have. I love the apps, my apps and games and stuff. I love that, so I can change the sizes of the game. I love everything on there that they've done, even the update section, the queue when you can see your game loading up, the size of that, and the speed that it's using. So like all those little details. Cortana's always been good with me. Like I ask her questions, she always answers, or it takes me to like the weather section where I ask her. The whole music thing, I want to try that today, but I think only certain apps work for preview members. Like iHeartRadio and Groove, I think are the only ones that I know of that work, but I haven't tested it out yet. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward. I mean, I'm really happy with what we have, and I know my friends who are just started using it, and now they're freaking out and they're all hyped up about it. And I'm like, yeah, I already had that. That's pretty cool. Also, this is how you go here, and this is how you go there. So I even got like some friends, like old school friends from high school, asking me questions on Facebook about like the update and stuff like that. So that is pretty cool.
My chief criticism, and this isn't a big one, but I felt like, especially since we've been hearing about the Windows 10 update for, I guess, probably going on 3 or 4 months now, is I feel like they under-delivered on the concept of universal Windows apps. I was expecting, and maybe this is on me for, having these expectations, but I was under the impression that we'd probably have 10 or 20 new applications that all took, that all kind of use these new abilities and background music, etc. I was really hoping for a stealth launch of Spotify. Obviously, I don't think an official one's coming for a while, but yeah, I don't know. I was hoping. What's that?
You say for Spotify?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Spotify's like my favorite music app.
There's a couple things that are a little underwhelming. Like you said, they finally have Cortana working a little bit better. I have it turned off currently, and I honestly don't really have much of an intention to turn it back on. I don't know. I guess just after going through the various iterations of it through the preview program, this doesn't feel like a big launch. But like She-Wolf said, to people who haven't had a major update in months, I'm sure this feels more substantial. Not everyone is feeling as I guess underwhelmed as I am.
Right.
Yeah, this is super huge. My favorite part, because I like seeing information about what's going on my system, whether it's what I'm doing, obviously, or as well as stuff in the background as well. So I like that as soon as you start installing something, like in the store, when you click buy this game, it shows you right away, okay, this is installing, this is how far how much of the game you've downloaded, this is how fast it's downloading. Then when you pop back to your home screen, that information is still there. When you go into My Games and Apps, that information is there as well. It shows you the queue of everything. Mm-hmm. The way that My Games and Apps is, organized now is beautiful. It's perfect. Whatever you want, it's all right there, right in the correct spots. The way things are arranged and how you can go in and find individual games. You know what's been updated recently so that if an update comes out, you can just hop on your Xbox and you can see, all right, I've already got it. I don't have to go look for it. It's telling me here that it's already done. It's just a great system.
Definitely. What about you, Tommy? How did you feel about the new update?
Actually, I was going to say that I didn't have the preview program, so I can actually speak from a new user point of view. I actually really like it. I like the games and apps. I like the new organization. I like that you can see what's downloading, the percentage, and the speed. Cortana, I tried it out. I'm really not a fan. I'm also not a fan of Siri on my iPhone. I turned that off, so I don't see myself using Cortana very much. What else? And I don't know if maybe it's just my Xbox because it's kind of been acting up lately. But ever since this update, my Xbox has been slow, like really slow. Everything's been lagging. Menus have you press something and it takes like 5 seconds to actually load. I don't know if maybe it's just my Xbox because it has been acting up, but I definitely noticed a slowdown.
We had that too, like Tommy. Like when we first got it, it was like a real slowdown with a lot of stuff, man. Even almost to the breaking point. So they'll probably come out with another update here and fix all that stuff.
All right, yeah, I definitely was noticeable. It was a little frustrating.
Yeah. Can we agree that maybe Microsoft, or not necessarily Microsoft, but just Xbox brand? Can we admit that this felt like the August day? Or the August 2nd release date kind of snuck up on them. Like, it doesn't feel like it has the normal polish that we have come to expect from, the game or whatever. The preview program is always janky. That's kind of the point. Mm-hmm. But I think as far as the performance of retail models that aren't in the preview program, I think this is a little bit of a rougher update than I think a lot of people are probably used to.
Yeah, you're probably right there too. Like it probably did creep up on them. In the preview program, I also think we're a couple iterations behind, and they're a few ahead of us. But yeah, it hasn't been the smoothest one. You're correct, man. I totally agree with you on that one.
I agree with you guys too. I think they were, with the launch of the Xbox One S, I think they were rushed a little bit to get this one out, and I noticed it from not being in the preview program. I was using it last night, and I went to download the games of gold, and it was lagging out on me almost. It took me way too long
to get in there.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Now, let me ask you, Tommy, did you use the I guess I'll call them the original Xbox One voice commands now?
I used to use them only for Netflix to pause. That's pretty much all I used it for. For Cortana, I used it one time. Or a couple of times I tried Cortana this and it said the wrong thing and I got frustrated immediately because I have no patience for it. So I probably won't even use it. In the original Xbox commands, if I do switch it back, it would just be for Netflix for when my wife and I watch it and we need to pause it.
Yeah, because that was what I wanted to highlight on that, is that for anyone listening, you do have the option of opting out of Cortana and you can still utilize the original, the basic, Xbox do this commands.
Well, I was actually going to bring this up, and someone actually also mentioned it in the chat as well. I was actually looking forward to the looking for group in the clubs, but they didn't actually bring that with
Must
this
be the
update,
fall.
which I thought
Yeah.
that they were. So it was a little
Stay tuned for
disappointing
next update.
personally for that.
Well, I think it's back to like what Bear was saying. I think it crept up on them. They couldn't get everything in, so they're probably just pushing stuff back.
Well,
Yeah,
and it-
probably.
yeah.
They might want us to test it as well before everybody else gets it. Also,
Yeah, because previews.
Also,
So- yeah.
something to consider, and I think this is something that, we talk about a lot of these topics a lot every week as new things, kind of happen, and that's okay. But one of the things that I think we haven't talked about is there hasn't been a ton of confirmation about this, but it seems like Microsoft is slowly, starting with this update, slowly backing away from the monthly preview program updates that we were seeing for the past 2 or 3 years, right? Like, and they might still happen. It might just be more minute than we were used to in the past. But remember, this is the summer anniversary update. It's a big one. And then in the fall, they've talked about, okay, we're going to add these clubs programs and all these social benefits. But like, for them to talk about them like they're seasonal updates, it's still better than PlayStation, which sees updates occasionally.
Yeah.
But it does seem. But I'm not trying to. You know me. That's not really
I
my
was
thing.
joking.
But
I was
but
joking.
no, I know. But I just mean that it seems interesting that we're moving towards a seasonal update pattern.
Yeah, well,
That's all.
yeah, I think
I'll-
you're right. I think it's like, go ahead, Fox. Sorry, go ahead. Good.
No, you go ahead. I'll go right after.
I was thinking I think they're getting the OS close to where they want it to be, so I don't think we're going to see as many frequent ones as prior. It's probably part of it too. But go ahead.
Right.
Good, Fox.
Also, yeah, I was gonna say, but also, do you guys think that is because of the feedback that we're giving? I know some people that actually don't give feedback; they just enjoy the new things and they don't say anything back to help them. So maybe it's the lack of feedback that they're
That
getting.
could be too. That definitely could be for sure.
Yep,
Alright, cool.
That's what I think. Maybe.
Cool, that's an awesome topic, guys. Let's go ahead and move on. We got a crap ton to talk about tonight, so let's get moving on. On to the next topic, and that is the space needed to use VR. This is already like a crazy topic because in pregame or pre-show, we were kind of getting a little into a great conversation there, so I can't wait to start this one. So Sony has released that you will need at least 60 square feet to use this for games. And this is kind of like the second reason for me that I'm just not interested in VR at this point is I don't want something on my head taking all my sensory stuff away and the space needed, not just for a PlayStation VR, but for Vive, Oculus, and all those other ones. Like, I just not on board right now. What does everybody else think?
I just want to give a quick shout out to Mooch. If you haven't seen it, go look at his Mooch VR picture because it is just hilarious.
Oh, big shout out
Yeah,
to
it is
70
pretty
people
cool.
watching us right now. You guys are awesome.
Amazing. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Love you guys.
All right, back to VR.
I think Mooch is gonna be a bit, happy with all the space he needs to move around his furniture and stuff.
You need to add an add-on to your house and just build a room directly only for VR. Make sure there's padded walls so you can't hurt yourself.
Well,
So there's
like,
an abandoned
Paddable.
insane asylum down the street from your house. It has now become the most useful building.
It's a
in the
VR
city.
hangout.
VR hangout.
I think
People will go crazy just to get in.
we were having a nice conversation too, and we were talking about 60 feet really isn't that much space, right? And I kind of agree there, to a sense, but I'm always on the point yeah, they're saying 60 feet, but when you think about it and you look at your front room or any other place in your house, you got a lot of furniture around, you have to pretty much move that, and I think even you probably need more than that to be on the safe side, so you're not running into walls, your TV, kids, people walking around. You almost need a dedicated room, in my opinion. It probably isn't that, but how it stands right now, that's what I was thinking.
I have a feeling
Okay.
people are gonna put them in the living room and just surround themselves with a couch here, a couch over there, just to be safe. And if they fall, they'll fall on their couch. I have a feeling that's how it's gonna be. But
I'm gonna surround
I mean,
it with my worst enemies.
I'm
then
just not
they
getting
can
one.
punch
I'm gonna use
people. That's
swords.
messed up.
I'm gonna use swords. Kill everyone that's around me.
Nice. What were you gonna say, Bear?
So, well, one of the things I was going to say, and again, yes, we did talk about this in pre-show, but for the 70 people, which is awesome, that are watching us, one of the things that I think is
71.
worth
Jay
71.
Williams said he's here.
that is
Number
one of the
71.
things that is worth mentioning is that although you probably didn't think about it, when you cleared the room to play Connect Rivals or whatever, when you move the ottoman, when you move the coffee table, whatever, you probably made 60 feet without even thinking about it. So it's not going to be as relaxing as how you sit down and put your feet up on the coffee table like it is now. But it's also I really, unless you live in a small apartment, I don't think you're going to have to redefine the way you play your video games to get here.
That's what I was thinking
and
too.
that's
is
just
like,
my personal opinion.
I agree with that as well. I mean, if you think about it, it's 8 foot by 7 foot is 56 square feet. So like that's not that big. Like you said, if you move a coffee table out of the way, everybody that's ever played Wii bowling, if you haven't, go kill yourself. Like
Yeah, but
you like make
I mean,
space.
you have a. No, I
Go
was gonna
ahead.
say you have a point, which is true. I mean, we're making jokes and stuff, and obviously we're just kidding around. But you have a point on that aspect. But when you think about the Kinect and the Wii, you could actually see around you. When you have this headset, it's not the same.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
if that's the case, like no matter like unless you're playing in a empty warehouse, like you're gonna get like if you even have like your standard room, you're gonna lose track of like where you're at. Like, and that's what I've been saying too. And like a lot of people have been saying like VR's a fad. VR's not it's not ready for the consumer yet. Like there's for me, like a fully immersive VR experience is what I want. Like I want to like the movie The Gamer or something like that, where I'm like fully immersed in the environment that I'm in. When that technology becomes readily available to the public at an affordable price, to where you don't have to build an entire add-on to your house to play it, that's where I'll be on board with VR, and I think that's years away from now. So like, if you're knocking it for the space, so be it. Like that's not the biggest knock to me. The biggest knock to me is that like it's just not a true VR experience in the first place, and I'd prefer AR over VR at this point.
Well, it's not even just that. If you truly think about it, majority of people have other either family members, roommates, whatever. There's other people in your house. So chances are you're going to be wearing headphones. And so you're going to have like headphones, you're going to have this thing on your face. It's not even just the room space. It's everything else also around it. Because even like if you go too many steps too far, you're like even not even thinking about it, you could still hit like a shelf or a TV. Or if you have animals who like to sleep around you, you have to watch for that. If you have kids that are running around, you have to watch for that. Like there is still a lot of other things that need to be taken into perspective when it comes to this. Because if you're wearing headphones, you're not hearing nothing around you. And I think that alone is going to be an issue. It's not just the room. It's going to be quite few of other things all tied into one that's going to actually make this experience not the best one that everybody's going to have.
I agree with what She-Wolf and Brutal were saying. For me personally, I'm not into VR. I'll straight up say that right away. Preface it. What I'm about to say is I'm not into it. The 60 feet thing, square feet. To me, it's not a big deal because I did that with the Wii when I had Wii bowling and I played that with all my friends and stuff. But it is inconvenient. And when I come home from work and I'm in a different age now than I was when I got the Wii. I don't really want to clear out coffee tables and put a headset on, and it's not fun. For me, it's just too much work. It's too much like inconvenience for me. I want to sit down with a controller and just play a game. I don't want to be worried about all that nonsense.
I think that's you nailed it right on the head there, Tommy. Is like after a long day at work, who wants to come home and just move a bunch of stuff out of the way so they can play their VR? Probably not a lot of people. But the other thing too is like VR is kind of like the NX like right now. Like the more we learn about it, the more questions we have, and it's not really answering any of the questions we had before, kind of thing. So it's just really at an odd point right now. I'm definitely going to take the wait and see approach on this one though.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys agree that it's a demand? Like, is there a demand for VR right now? Like, do you feel like VR has been force fed to us?
I believe it has, Brutal.
Like, I get the idea. The novelty of VR is really cool, but it's not a practical application. Like
not right now anyway.
We're
was
years
Kinect.
behind of it being like practical though. Like I said, like even Kinect, I feel like Kinect's is a novelty. It's not a staple in gaming yet. And when you get to the point where VR is a staple, and the community really wants it, like keep it on the back, like the black market, or if you will, like keep it underground and like where people have exclusive invites to play it. Don't try to market it to the community now where it's clearly not ready to be part of the gaming culture yet, to the average consumer, I guess.
Yeah, they definitely overhyped it way too much, and they really shouldn't. Especially, I think it's actually kind of funny that it was so overhyped, and then E3 came, and truthfully now it's not as talked about. Like, Sony's not really pushing to really advertise it as much as they were before, which is a little I don't know, I guess surprising the way that, it has changed, but they are still definitely pushing it way too much in the media, and for that, I think it could possibly fail just because people are getting hyped for something that may not actually be exactly what they think it is.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, you got to remember that, we're talking about entertainment here, and it's human nature that in entertainment, you're going to be more affected by the demotivators than, the things about it that you like, because like a great game, the best game ever, can be ruined by a few like botched features or bad updates or all that kind of stuff. And so at the end of the day, the fact is, what is Console Corner talking about in relation to PSVR? The fact that, I got to spend extra time in order to move stuff around in my room. Whether or not you have that room or you have that space, it takes extra work for us to do this, on top of the fact that you're spending, the same price tag for an Xbox Slim on just this headset. And, and then it's like, now I have to put in extra labor to use this thing. That's, those are the things that are important in entertainment, and the demotivators stand out.
Yeah, and I agree with what Asthmatic said, because even with me, I mean, maybe I'm just lazy, but since I've moved mostly to digital, I still have physical disc, but whenever like I want to play a game, it's on a physical disc, I'm like, I don't feel like going to find that. It's like automatically I don't want to do it, so I can't imagine moving coffee tables around and putting a visor on. That's not going to motivate me.
Yeah. It's got to be as easy as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
I make myself get up because I like collecting physical games, so I'm like, I have to do it.
Nice.
Gotta go dust on that shelf.
All right, guys. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say one more thing. When it comes to VR, like PSVR, like specifically, I feel like they are being forced a little bit more when you compare it to others, because it is on their main platform, it is on their system, and that's where basically their games are gonna be. So I feel like it is being forced a little bit on them more than anywhere else.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Let's get into our last news topic, and thanks for the 80 people that were watching us. You guys rock. All right, so let's get into what happened today. The Xbox One S has released, the 2 terabyte one today anyway. The other ones are coming out later this month. It's super small. And from what Digital Foundry has been talking about, it seems to have a little bit more overclocked GPU. It's still the same one, but it's up to like 900 megahertz now. And I want to know, how has the reception been for everybody? I know a lot of us are on social media and all that kind of stuff. How's everybody digging it? Do you think the reception was cool? Is this the step that Microsoft should be going in? What do you guys think?
Well, I was kind of excited about it, but after seeing the absolutely phenomenal unboxing video that you guys can find on the Gamers Knows Best YouTube channel, I'm way more excited.
I didn't know YouTube allowed softcore porn. Because that's basically, I felt like I was watching Taxi Cab Confessions on YouTube, watching that unboxing video.
Oh, thanks, guys.
That's some serious tech that went into making that video.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like last night, I believe Rand was saying how sexy the console was, and I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't see it. And then when I saw your video, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
That console, though.
Yeah, big shout out to all the comments and stuff on that video. You guys absolutely loved it, and I really appreciate that. It's awesome.
Look, my evaluation of the Xbox One S is that if you don't have and I love definitely disagree, I think they will. If you don't have a 4K TV with an HDR, that has HDR capabilities, meaning late 2015 or 2016 model, I don't necessarily think that this is an essential upgrade product, right? Like I'm still kicking around the same 1080p TV, and so yes, you're talking about these performance boosts, 9 frames, I think Eurogamer said that they got 9 FPS on average bonus on the One X, which is actually pretty good. But is it is it $400 or $300? Gotta guess it's up to the individual.
Yeah.
It just, for me, it's very hard with the Scorpio around the corner to convince myself to upgrade when I don't even have the TV that can fully take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at too, Bear. Is like I don't have a TV to like take advantage of it right now, and it's like hardware wise, it's not too different. It's a gorgeous console. If I had the extra change to drop on it, for sure. Like, but I'm not gonna make an effort to get an Xbox One S right now. It looks awesome. I'm happy for it. To be honest, I'm jealous of everybody that got one. But Crap made a good comment or good good. Shit, why can I not talk tonight?
Video or
No,
comment?
No, he made a good comment in the chat here saying that announcing the Scorpio helped with the Xbox One S, kind of shifting the attention to 1080p being the standard and moving it towards that 4K standard, which we'll be looking forward. I mean, I know that we have the ability with 4K right now with the Xbox One S, but when we get into the Scorpio generation, that's going to be where we really see 4K coming to more of a standard in the industry. And I think that, like he said, announcing the Scorpio helped kill that 1080p narrative, in his words, because it takes away from that need, that desire to be pushing towards 4K, and helps. God damn it, Mooch!
Stop being a chat.
I can't.
You need to focus on your comments and then go to the chat after.
I just saw it pop up, and I just saw my name pop up. I was like, "What is he saying?"
Chicken's been counted.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. It helps take away from that focus on 1080p So it helps usher in this console. Granted, it's a stepping stone to the Scorpio, but all in all, I think it's a great move by Microsoft, in the sense that it's a great business move. Like Mooch said, I guarantee you they're going to win some NPDs this year. So, from a business standpoint, it's awesome.
Yeah, for me too. Like, we have like 4 regular Xbox Ones in here and stuff like that. Like, and I saw this, and I was kind of on the fence too. Like at first, and I was like, man, should we not? Blah 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 blah. And should we wait for the 500 because it's cheaper? You know, we really don't need any other ones. But then I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's do the 2 terabyte. I don't need any of these bundles with the games because we already got all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of wasted on me. But
he is getting the Gears one.
I am getting the Gears one for sure.
See, that's the one that's really got me conflicted.
Yeah.
Man, like on one side I want it, but on the other side it's expensive, and in a year I'm gonna want to trade it up for the Scorpio.
Well, see, that's the point I was going to go into. Well, that's the point I was going to go into too. Is like if you upgrade now to the Xbox One S, you're going to get a better trade-in value later on for the Scorpio, because probably by then the original Xbox Ones are probably going to be like $50 if you're lucky at that point.
Yep.
But as well as like pictures and videos don't do justice to this console and how small and sleek and sexy this fucking thing it really is. It's mind-blowingly nice looking. And I don't have 4K, I don't have HDR either, but that really wasn't the selling point for me. Like, it still plays on my 1080p gaming monitor and all that kind of stuff. So, you know,
it's still going to put out an absolutely beautiful picture.
For sure.
And it is like, it's still, because like seeing it at E3 in the display case, I'm like, damn, that thing is super small. And then seeing it again at Comic-Con, I'm just continually blown away by how tiny this is. And I carry the E3 FanFest backpack. That's a carrying case for it. I take that backpack to school with my 17-inch laptop in there, and my 17-inch laptop barely fits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, every day, I'm like, this console is going to be amazing. And same thing, I'm right there with you guys, where my plans are to pick up an HDR TV or gaming monitor or something like that on Black Friday this year, and then probably a Slim somewhere maybe early next year, because for me, really, the Scorpio is what I'm going to be like saving the fundage for. That's where the money's going to be going. The Slim is just kind of there in the middle. But this is it's a great time, because you've got options. You've got, for people who have already got a 4K HDR TV, like, this thing is the box for you, because this will do it all.
Absolutely.
Well, see, that's kind of where my point goes with this. Even if you don't have a 4K, that Xbox One, it's going to be so low in price for trade-in value, it's not going to be worth trading it in the end. And so that's why, personally, when you get these deals the way that, what GameStop just did, where even though it was only $150 for the trade-in, it was still more than what they previously offered. Now, don't get me wrong, if Microsoft actually does what they were supposed, like what the rumor is that they're actually going to give you some form of a trade-in towards the Scorpio, then it could be beneficial. But at the same time, we would definitely need a lot more details on that before I would assume anyone would actually want to jump into that. But if you have these deals that GameStop is giving where they're actually going to give you quite a bit of money, or even if you could sell it, say on Craigslist, eBay, whatever, for like up to $200, then it's definitely worth it to go and put it towards the S, so that way you do have this console. And again, it's newer. We're all tech people. We're all gamers. We all like that new next thing. It's what we do. We always want the next best thing, and that's what this is. You know, the controller itself it's Bluetooth and everything. It's already the next form of generation of controller. I know most of us use the Elite controller, but people who don't or whatever, it's still a great controller. So there is still aspects to this console that you don't need the 4K TV for.
What were you gonna say, Bear?
Well, I was just gonna say that I think you're absolutely right in that. First of all, the Xbox One S will absolutely bring down the value of the current Xbox model by next year. Like that's absolutely going to happen. But I don't know if I can totally get down with the concept of, so it's worth upgrading so you can trade it in again.
Right.
Because even if they do give you $150 for your current console, you're still, assuming you're buying the $400 model, you're still spending $250. That $250 isn't really going to make it like the money that you're going to get for the Xbox One S next year isn't going to negate the fact that you still had to pay $250 this year. Like, it will save you some money compared to keeping the Xbox One, but I don't think it will offset whatever you're going to have to pay to upgrade now. Like I said before, I stand by the comment of, if you don't have a 4K TV, I think that unless you're one of those guys who A, doesn't have the Xbox yet, or two, is just really, really into tech no matter what, even if you can't get the most out of it, I just don't see a reason to upgrade yet. I don't know. That's just my thing. Everybody spends money differently, but, you know.
There's actually a third option for that. It's me, which is my original Xbox is about to blow up on me, so that's why I'm upgrading. It's not working very well, so it's struggling.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Also for me, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Gears console. I don't know if later on they're going to be very limited to find, so I'd rather upgrade right now, even though I don't have to, because I'm really looking forward to that console and having it as a collectible and stuff like that. And I can worry about the TV and all the other stuff later on, a monitor or whatever the case may be, so I can worry about that next year. But at least I'll have the console, which might be a limited run anyway, so I might not see that again. And if I do, it might be a higher price and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what I'm really looking forward to it, but at the same time, you know, fuck you, GameStop. You screwed me over. You didn't give me the deal because of your shitty computers. I just had to say that.
That's fine.
I was waiting for the GameStop rant.
Yeah, because as soon as she mentioned it, I was like, oh no, why did she mention GameStop? I hate them. They garbage.
Calls are out.
Cool.
Yeah, I might sell my console to my homegirl because she's still rocking the 360 and she wants to play the new Call of Poopies. So I might sell my console to her and might get $200. I mean, we'll see.
We got Call of Poopy. We got Iron Banana.
Yeah.
I love the Fox-isms for her little games. They're great. Iron Banana is awesome.
Yeah, Iron Banana is great. That caught on so well too.
So real quick before we move on to the rest of the topics, Brutal was telling us that they have this like nice $399 deal for the 2 terabytes. It comes with Halo 5, Quantum Break, and Doom, I believe. Is that right, Brutal?
Yeah, on Newegg's eBay, they're posting I just saw this right before the show started. $399 for the 2 terabyte. You also get Halo 5, Quantum Break, and Doom as a bundle for $399. So that's a really good deal, killer deal. So
so cool. All right, let's go ahead and give it back to She-Wolf, and let's go on with the rest of these topics.
Awesome. Okay, I hope everybody is enjoying the show so far. Okay, that was a really bad ice. Oh.
What the hell?
Ice cube that just got stuck in my throat.
Are you drinking a Moscow Mule again?
What?
Are you drinking a Moscow Mule?
Yes.
Now I'm thirsty.
Oh my god, yes.
They are really good.
You're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. Alright, so, I hope everyone is enjoying the show so far, and of course we're gonna move on to the topics now. So, let's get right into this. Alright, so, just for our first topic of the week, everyone's. There we go. Okay, I want to
She's
get everyone's
gone.
opinion on
She's a-
Yooka-Laylee's Toy Box mode. It was released on a Kickstarter backer, and there was a 27 minutes of Toy Box gameplay. What is everyone's opinions, and what did you guys think of this game? Let's start with Tommy.
I mean, well, actually, I'm a big fan of the 3D platformers and Banjo-Kazooie and Mario, so I'm actually kind of excited for this. I liked what I saw so far. It is a Kickstarter, so I'm skeptical, but I do like this genre of game, which is, to me, is not one that's found often anymore, so I'm kind of excited for it, but I still need to see a little bit more.
Yeah, it looks good. I like the. I mean, right when from the very first start, when they started showing this footage, when that 27 minutes started, immediately it was Banjo and Kazooie, immediately, right?
Yep.
I mean, from the perspective you're playing at, from the platforming. I mean, even though it was just like 3D models and there's no skin applied to anything, you could tell that it had that Banjo and Kazooie feel. And I mean, it looks like a spitting image of the game. From the co-op mechanics that you have to use to like kind of traverse the different levels. One thing I really remembered about Banjo and Kazooie is like there's an obvious route to get to where you're trying to go, but you can't actually use that route. So you have to backtrack and find a way to use your co-op mechanics between the two characters that you can control, and navigate it in a different way that you didn't originally look at trying to get to your end goal. Yeah. And that's one of the big things I first noticed off the bat. Their co-op and be able to use each character's individual skills was really cool. And one other thing I wanted to ask you guys, because I couldn't remember from Banjo and Kazooie, did you have to collect feathers in Banjo and Kazooie as well?
Yes.
Or was it something else?
You did have feathers there was one of the collectibles was feathers. I forgot.
Yeah, it was definitely collectibles and puzzle pieces. And
Yeah.
And feathers flew was for Kazooie flying, I think. It helped her fly.
Well, in the Toy Box version, there's like a bunch of feathers that you can collect. Wasn't there something that you could collect like that in Banjo and Kazooie as well?
I want to say like the puzzle pieces and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, and then what were they called? The little guy, the Jinjos?
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah. But no, and this is just building on what everyone said, although the character models are different, even the way characters talk, like the dialogue, the way the attacks sound and the world environment sounds, this game is absolutely, and I think the term spiritual successor gets thrown around a lot. Look at games like Might Number 9. But this game is absolutely a spiritual successor to the Banjo 2
for
and Kazooie games.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the truest sense. No, this game looks incredible.
Yeah, this is a preview build for the Kickstarter, but all in all, man, it looks really cool. It definitely, like everybody said, it has that rare feel to it. These guys are ex-Rare devs, so it's there. I think the characters look great. And surprisingly enough, the gameplay looks really polished, so that's kind of exciting. They probably...
It does.
Yeah.
The character models look surprisingly, crisp.
I agree.
They did a lot of, close-ups when they were swimming and things like that, and, the character models look super clean.
Yeah.
Especially being the Toy Box pre-alpha or whatever you want to call it. It looked great.
Yeah,
these are really good.
These are not noob devs, man. They've been around. They know what they're doing. I like that they also showed a ton of mechanics in this toy box too, what the game's really going to offer. I thought that was really cool. I do have to say, the NPCs and the characters look awesome, but I really need some voice acting here. The grunts and groans, and after a while, that robot that they kept going to, and it was and I was just driving me insane.
Dude, that's Banjo. Well, that's Banjo Kazooie's style. Is and I get I think that there are some games especially that have aged, and I understand if that's an aged mechanic for people, but when I hear that, oh man, that's just audio nostalgia.
Oh yeah, for sure it is, but it's just. Dude, after I can see myself playing this, and I just be "Shut up, just stop,"
Yeah. But I am TKB on that with the grunts because it is an aged mechanic, like Bear says. It is nostalgic. However, I was playing Dungeon Punks and it had no vocals in it. It was all text, and I was annoyed because I'm not used to that anymore.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about this game. I'm definitely probably gonna pick it up day one. So, yeah.
Get on it.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
I think you guys nailed this one down.
Cool.
Pretty much. I don't really know what else anyone could really comment to. It's definitely one of those cute, fun games that we used to play as kids and stuff like that. And it kind of brings me back to one of my favorite games, which was Spyro as well. So it's just the fun aspect of it and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see the actual full release of this game and what they take it to. And definitely how they do the storyline of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've said a million times, nostalgia's a hell of a drug, and
The Mooch's favorite quote.
and regardless of if you think if you're interested in playing a new version of Banjo and Kazooie, I mean, essentially that's what it is. Let's be honest, but the nostalgia factor is going to bring people in just to get a taste of it and just to look at it and just and see what parallels it draws to the old game. So I think it's going to do really well for the level that it's trying to be released at.
Definitely great. Anybody else have anything they would like to add before we move on to the next topic?
I was just gonna ask you guys, is it only local co-op? Because that's from what I heard.
Is it even co-op?
I don't even
Yes.
know what's coming.
I
heard-
think
Confirmation on that?
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I mean, let me put it this way: Banjo Kazooie is a 3D platformer single player game, and I think it had some. I don't remember if the first one did, but I know the sequel had tacked on multiplayer. But I don't think the actual gameplay was two-player, unless I'm totally having a stroke. So
No,
toast.
It wasn't two-player. It was just a single-player game, but it had the two characters, so maybe it's some confusion on that. But
Right.
I played Banjo-Kazooie actually last year on the Rare Replay, and the game still holds up, so I have good feelings about this. The gameplay is still, for me, was fun. It wasn't something that felt dated, so I enjoy these styles of game. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. All right, we're going to move on to the next topic. With only 1 week away of the release, No Man's Sky has some mixed thoughts on this game, and of course, we have to get everyone's opinions of what you guys thought about this game. And of course, the big question, what do you guys think about the fact of this guy actually paid $1,300 just to play this game early and then released leaks of it? We're going to start with Fox because she actually has a PlayStation.
What? Okay.
Sold her out.
I know, right? It's why you gotta put my business out there? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's crazy. I think that dude is nuts. But at the same time, he said it was worth it for him because he wanted to see what the game that he was actually hyped for, and he didn't really release too much story wise. He just showed some gameplay. He talked about it. He was kind of iffy about it, but he wanted some feedback from Reddit and stuff like that, and within his community. But I think that's crazy that he paid that much. I don't think that's worth it, but I mean,
That's super.
I don't think any game is worth that.
he didn't hate on it afterwards though. He said he's still playing it and stuff like that, so yeah.
The main thing that stuck out to me with that article is not even that he spent so much money to get on it, but that he was able to, by sheer force of will and just planning it out, get his way to the center of the galaxy in 30 hours, he said.
Well, he
This
did
is
admit to exploiting stuff that won't be usable in the final game. He exploited the game's most rare and most expensive resource. So again, I kind of voiced it on Twitter earlier. I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to this game. I'm still gonna probably pick it up next week, but it also seems like the 30 hours thing was if you can exploit the game to the extremes, this is what you can do. I don't know, and yeah, jeez, this game is one of those things where it's got so much hype behind it.
Isn't it kind of a worry though? If he's already figured out something to exploit to get to the center, that when a bunch of people get their hands on it, how many exploits are going to be in?
Oh,
game?
dude,
That's
there's
kinda-
gonna be every game that drops, dude. There's exploits. I mean, look at when the first day that Incursions dropped on
Division. Wow.
I was like, you said Destiny. I was like, what the fuck am I thinking
Sorry,
about?
well, I'm going on timeout.
You just blew my mind. No, but when Incursions dropped, there's exploits day one. Did that thing drop? People instantly beating it. You can port over to the end boss or whatever. This game's release is what some people have been talking about this whole time, like social media has just destroyed like the potential for a lot of games to release. And I'm not saying that No Man's Sky is like a home run by any chance, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that, all right, so there's this hype that builds up, and then a couple people get their hands on the game, and then there's an opinion that gets formed over the game. And I guarantee you, the majority of these people that are bashing No Man's Sky haven't even played the game, and they probably watched it maybe 5 minutes of gameplay. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a big supporter of No Man's Sky. The game looks boring as shit to me. But with that being said, like you said, it's not for everybody, but it is for some people. And so I think that, granted that No Man's Sky might not be the game for everybody, I think it's been dealt a harsh hand, and I think a lot of games get dealt that same harsh hand when they get released like this, and when there's that much hype behind it. And that's why we always say, what do we always say? We always say,
keep your expectations
in check, right? So whether or not there's a lot of expectation to be built for this game, they did a great job hyping the game up, and then they got slapped in the face for it because it didn't deliver to a lot of people's expectations. So,
well, and building on what you're saying, and I don't mean to draw a parallel just between Sony, because it happens on Microsoft platforms too, but I think the last game that was a victim of its own hype, and I don't think this game's a good game, but I think it gets bashed more than it should, is The Order 1886. Similarly had so much hype going into launch. And even after gameplay that looked like it was like, oh, this is a super linear hallway shooter, that's why they can achieve these graphics. People still had insane hype for the game, and then it came out, and then the things that made the game mediocre ended up being seen as horrible to people because they had such high expectations. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen in No Man's Sky, is this game has such monumental levels of hype and hate and love on both sides of consoles and PC, that there's just no way this game is going to keep a gleaming reputation. It's just not going to.
I think the only game that ever lives up to the hype is like GTA or something like that, man. That's about it.
Yeah, Rockstar games are pretty solid.
Yeah, Rockstar games.
But when it comes to No Man's Sky, I mean, with the comparison that Barry used between The Order and No Man's Sky, I mean, The Order was supposed to be a AAA game, and this is an indie. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I think of an indie, my expectations are totally different.
Well,
so
it is a $60 indie though. That's
exactly
part of it.
Yeah,
that's my second part of my what I was saying, is that the fact that this was hyped up so much as an indie title for $60, it seems weird to me. It's an indie title. It shouldn't be $60. It shouldn't have been this hyped.
But that's what We Happy Few could possibly be. So how is that any different?
It's not. I think the same thing with We Happy Few. It shouldn't be that hyped as well. It's an indie title, and it should stay that way.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, and again, I want to keep this brief, but this is something to consider when you consider how hyped you want to be for this game. So it's pretty typical. I do a lot of press stuff for games, and there are people much bigger than me who have the same experience. It's pretty typical from a developer to say, hey, we're not giving out codes until launch for X, Y, and Z reasons. And sometimes it's bullshit, sometimes it's legit. But I've heard from multiple sources and myself that Hello Games isn't replying to like major media outlets emails asking to review the game. Like Total Biscuit, who I think everyone should be pretty familiar with, one of the biggest PC guys out there, said that he has heard nothing. He's heard no replies from any emails from Hello Games. So that's super atypical to hear nothing. And like that doesn't make me feel confident in your product at all. And I say that as somebody who doesn't always pay a lot of money for games because I review them, but like I'm extremely skeptical of this game. Like when you seem like you don't want to talk to press, that's bad.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, like the I think the art style and everything is cool in this game. I like the pastel colors and all that kind of stuff. But like it's back to like what Brutal was saying. Like for me, this game is really like boring. Like I'm a guy that doesn't even like, Grand Theft Auto. I think it's great for what it is and what it does and for people and all that kind of stuff. But like when I'm given like these vast worlds and just say, hey, go do whatever you want to do, my first instinct is like, okay, well, I'm going to go play another game. Like I'm not into these type of games at all. So for me, I'm not as hyped as everybody else. I don't think it's going to live up to the hype. And that's kind of sad too. But yeah, there was also like this guy was saying too that it was plagued by like bugs and everything like that. And to everyone out there, like, he's playing like an early build probably. He doesn't have day one patches and all that kind of stuff, so I'm sure they're going to work out some of those issues. But yeah, like what Bear was saying, like if they're not even talking to, you know, influencers and like big time people out there, that's very worrisome for us. So
I agree.
Well,
I mean, like,
and Total Biscuit doesn't even review games. He just talks about the port. Like, shit, like, he's not going to be like, your game's awful. All he does is says how it runs. Like, shit.
Yeah, but I think after this whole leak that this guy did, I'm pretty sure they want to be even more tighter and be like, well, we don't want anybody else leaking anything, so just trust nobody.
Yeah, well, the only difference is that guy isn't... The guy who got his hands... I'm not feeling familiar with how he got his hands on the copy. But I can tell you that he didn't.
$1,300.
To who? To someone online? Or... Well, let me put it this way: when I get a code, or when anyone gets a code, you're under a non-disclosure agreement, and like that's why press doesn't leak
embargoes and everything.
Yeah, well, that's why that happens.
From what I'm hearing is that local stores that have games and stuff.
Yeah, mom and pops leak that shit all the time.
Yeah, they always they always sell copies early and stuff like that. So that's how people get a hold of them, and then they sell them on eBay. And obviously they fly off the shelf because it's an early game. So it's not like anybody can try to stop it or anything like that. So from what I'm hearing, yeah, it's local stores who are actually selling the game early.
I just feel so bad for Sean Murray, the guy who made it. Like, when they delayed the game from June till August, he got death threats from people who wanted to play him. Like, fuck, like, not jealous at all.
Yeah, that's death threats are uncalled for.
Well, and my thing is, no matter what platform you're on, like, what is wrong with you? It's a video.
While we're on the topic of Sean Murray, fucking one of the funniest things I've seen lately is when Mooch put up that fucking
before and after
cue the sad Ben Affleck music for Sean Murray when he found out that nobody was like or when No Man's Sky wasn't received as well as he thought it would be. That shit had me dying. So shout out to you, Mooch. You win my Twitter War of the Week award. That's a new thing. That's a new thing.
Falling asleep, and so we are going to move on before I personally lose my buzz. And
mention one more thing.
Go for it.
All right, I heard that in Japan they had like an event, and it was actually playable in that event. That's all I was gonna say.
Really?
So a lot of people are actually playing this around the world, and we don't even know. But yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I feel like that always happens.
Yeah.
And the copy that guy had was not legitimate. I just looked it up. Apparently, he paid $1,300 on eBay for a leaked copy.
Right, which means it hasn't had patches.
Yeah.
Might not even be the gold version.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Of course. Anyways, with that being said, next we are moving on to the next segment of the show.
Brutal City Discussion! All right, Brutal, take it away.
Today on In Discussion we have Hyperlight Drifter. What is Hyperlight Drifter? Go find it right now and play it right now if you haven't played it because it's fucking awesome is what it is. It's a 2D action role-playing game. It's developed by Heart Machine, more specifically by a guy named Alex Preston. There's an interesting story behind why he made the game. We'll share that a little bit later in the conversation. But let's get to the important parts of it. Hyperlight Drifter is nostalgia, 80s, 2D gamer, all day, every day. Like, it has the essential like elements of like an RPG mixed with the unforgiving brutality of like a Dark Souls, right?
Well, what was your favorite part of the game?
My favorite part of the game?
Yeah.
At first, all right, it's funny. My favorite part of the game was also my least favorite part of the game at the beginning was the combat. The combat system, I felt initially getting into it when I was thrown in, because you literally get bombarded with enemies at some points before you're completely comfortable with the controls. And I think that my favorite part was, after I got used to it, was definitely the combat system. Once you learn how to utilize your skills and learn how to use them in the right time. The combat's super fluid. Granted, it's unforgiving. My other favorite part was also the saving. The autosave points are placed very well around the map to where you're not losing huge chunks of progress if you happen to die, which you will a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What about you guys? What did you guys think was those of you that have played it? What did you guys think was your favorite part? What really drew you into this game?
Dude, the opening cinematic was like so good, man. I was just like, yes, I want to play this now and never stop.
Dude, like when those big like robots like rose up from the ground.
Yeah, I mean the colors, the lighting, what they do with the whole 2D 8-bit, 16-bit thing, man, is just phenomenal.
I mean, a lot of us were saying this in the pre-show. Like, it's super Zelda, right? It's Zelda, and who was that? Was that Bearclaw? I think was saying that it's Zelda and Dark Souls like mixed together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
What did you think about it, Bear?
So I actually just published a review for it, I think yesterday. So it's on my website, bearclawgaming.com, if you want to read it. But keeping things brief, really big fan of the game. Easy, my favorite part was that the game doesn't hold your hand at all, right? And I think the other guys can attest to this. Like, you start out in the center of the map, and you can go in any of the cardinal directions, north, east, west, south, any direction you want. You can explore those areas, you collect pieces, and then you can fight a boss. And you can go in any order you want, and you can face any of the game's bosses, except for the final boss, in any order that you want. And this leads to like these really, really cool moments where I guess the game just really caters to this idea of exploration, where they'll hide like weapon upgrades or things like basically that what you can exchange for money, things around the levels, and like, but it's not like looking under, it's not like killing someone and they drop something, but it's like if you walk and you push your character along a wall, sometimes they'll just fall into like a hidden hallway and there'll be a collectible.
That's one of the things I wanted to touch on too.
So
man,
rewarding.
It rewards the explorer to the max. Like there's so many like hidden off the beaten path type discoveries you can find, whether it's upgrades for your character, because the whole upgrade system there's towns where you can go back and redeem these. I don't know what you would call them, but I guess like it's some form of currency essentially in the game, to where you can go back to town and cash them in for upgrades to your weapons, to your armor, to your abilities, things like that, to your health. So they did a really good job incorporating an upgrade system into these indie type games where you don't really see like a too robust upgrade system. I think this one does a really good job with upholding that. What do you guys think?
Well, can I ask a quick question? Do you know how long this game runs for? Like the length for it to complete it?
I got to the credit scene in about 5.5 hours.
Yeah, I think it's being
But
advertised
I didn't
around
get
4.5
everything.
to 5 hours.
Yeah.
To just to run through, but there's a lot of exploration to it that you could probably.
That too, and like depending on how good you are at these kind of games too, like this is an extremely difficult game, so it could take you longer if you're not really good at these kind of games too. So.
It is.
Yeah, it could definitely take longer. I've been dying quite a bit.
Also something to keep in mind for every. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I know this is.
You're good.
I'm hijacking you here.
No,
one of the
good, bro.
things
Go ahead.
is there are collectibles in the game. There's you need to collect 4 from each region, but there are actually 8 in each region that are hidden. And if you collect all of them, you unlock a secret horde mode. So that also adds a little bit of content to the game. Which is kind of weird that they hit it under like one of the most challenging things in the game, but that's just part of the game, I guess.
This is a great game to have a horde mode too, man, because of the way it plays and the mechanics and everything. I think it would be pretty awesome.
Well, just another quick question then. I'm sure everyone's actually kind of, who doesn't own this game, would love to know. How much does this game cost, Brutal?
Well, I picked the game up for $14.99.
That was the $7.
Yeah. It's running regular price at $20. In my opinion, it's worth every penny of $20. Like it's, I think where this game might get some fault for is that when you Bear was saying, this game doesn't hold your hand at all. And like when you jump into this game, you're gonna feel lost and you're gonna feel kind of confused as to where to go. I mean, there's not even any dialogue in this game. There's no text box. There's no spoken or written word in this game. All of your interactions with NPCs are either shown through like kind of like a storyboard type interaction.
Pictographs.
Yeah, or you get random digital sounding like grumblings from the NPCs. That's all you get.
Yeah.
But it lends itself to people to really go out and explore the game, and I enjoy the fact that there's no hand holding in this game. It kind of opens it up and lets you play the game how you want. Granted, you might be lost for a little while, but it does a good job with not showing you where everything is, but at the same time, it becomes very intuitive if you play it for about an hour or so. You'll get into the groove of like what you need to do.
Yeah.
I didn't touch on this in my review, but can you agree, Brutal, that if you didn't spend if you're a younger gamer or you just didn't spend a lot of time playing games when you were young, if you were somebody who spent a lot of time in the GameCube era and on, you might struggle to get into a game that doesn't tell you what to do at all.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying is like I think that like it's gonna get some negative feedback for how kind of thrown into the shit you are when you first get this game. Like,
here's the thing too, though. If you hang with it and play it past that first hour or so, you're really gonna pick up this game and you're gonna really start learning what's going on and really start to enjoy it. Especially when you start getting into the combat and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and you gotta. There's definitely a learning curve to learn how to utilize your mechanics in the right way to be able to effectively. I mean, because there's points where you're completely overwhelmed by enemies. I mean, and this game's not forgiving in the sense of taking hits. And even though I said that the save points are well placed, there are big chunks of difficult sections where if you die, you're gonna have to redo that section again.
Yeah.
And you got to be wary of where you hit those autosave spots at, because sometimes they'll get saved where you have like. I was in this loop where I was stuck with like 2 health bars respawning right before the boss every time.
And no health packs.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to run back. I had to run back through the map and try to find some like health packs I didn't find before.
Yeah.
But if I could give anybody one bit of advice on this game is to explore everything. There are so many hidden little pathways to go find and upgrade your character, and those become key the further you move into the game.
And the hidden areas too are very subtle.
I don't mean to cut off anybody. Just people are wondering. Just one last time, Brutal. What game are you talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Hyper Light Drifter.
Hell yeah!
A retro stunner coming out from Heart Machine Studios.
Yeah. This was also on the PC before it was on consoles, so this is the console release.
Yeah, I think PC launched back in March, I believe.
Or April, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that this, and again, like, it definitely varies, but I think that when I played this game, this is one of those games that's going to come up in December as one of the indies that gets nominated for Game of the Year out of nowhere. I don't know if it's my favorite game I've played all year, but it's probably one of the strongest indie games I've played all year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the story, like GKB made a good point. Like when we first launched the game up, there's like I said, there's no words, there's no text at all. There's nothing to read, but they do such a good job with driving the story through just completely silent, like little cinematics and shorts that you see. They do a really good job at driving the story forward, and you can come to agree, and not only agree, but you can come to like kind of accept like what's going on for your character here, and you kind of get sucked into the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any like? I mean, I know that Bear played it a lot. I know Tommy, you played it a little bit. Does anybody else in She-Wolf and GKB? Asthmatic, did you play it at all?
I have not played this yet. That's kind of why I'm sitting quiet.
I noticed you were hanging a little quiet over there, bro. So I was like,
I haven't played it either. I've watched it, but I haven't actually dived in and played it myself either. Though I would actually like to hear a little more from Tommy about his experience with it and the things he actually like, what stood out to him and stuff in this game, and why he would recommend it.
Yeah, Tommy, what do you think? Considering that you haven't played too much of it, what would you say about it? Considering that you haven't like gotten a little deeper into it, like some of us have, from a starting standpoint. How do you feel about it right now?
I actually really like it a lot. The reason I haven't gotten as far into it is because I'm just not as good at it as I used to be these types of games, but I'm enjoying it. So I'm dying a lot. I'm doing a lot of exploration, so I'm not as far along, but it's mostly because I'm exploring a lot and kind of like walking in corners, like you guys said, and trying to find stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like,
So I take my time doing that. When I get like OCD with that stuff in these games, I like try to explore every nook and cranny I can.
I start every RPG off thinking, all right, I'm going to 100% every section that I go through. And then it gets to a point where I'm like, I can skip past that one. That'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm like the same way. But I really like this game a lot. What wasn't touched on, which I really like a lot, which I think is one of the best features in the game, is the sound and the music.
Absolutely.
I really love the sound in this game. The atmosphere it builds is just phenomenal. I'm a big fan of like that 80s throwback sound or whatever that is.
It's like
funny you say that, man. It's
like synth sound kind of
yeah, I love it. I thought it gave such a good ambiance to the game while I was exploring. It made it feel like have a lot of character, the world you're in.
I completely agree, man, because there's points like in the in-between section, like where you're going to the different wings that you need to explore, because essentially there's those 4 corners that you need to explore. The music that's playing there, like I was just playing last night, and there was this moment where I was walking through the map, and I was like, this is like super soothing right now. Despite the fact that 5 minutes ago I wanted to like punt my Xbox out of the window because it was so hard.
Yeah, I was making like a big like, I don't know, like every time I heard the music and even with the opening scene and all that kind of stuff, man, I don't know why, but I always kept thinking of Blade Runner because of the music, and it just harkens back to that movie, and I just absolutely just loved it, man.
What anime did you say this is akin to, GKB?
That's the other thing too, man. It's like I don't know why either. I think it's just like the post-apocalyptic and the colors and all that kind of stuff, but it always brought me back to Akira. And that whole thing. It's not the same story or anything like that. That's not why I kept.
It's just that sense.
It's just that
feel,
that sense and feeling of like something's bad about to happen kind of thing. So
yeah, I think the dash mechanic in this game. Utilize all I can say to people. Utilize your dash as much as possible, but
Absolutely.
Be wary with it around edges because you actually can't. You can't. I don't think you can actually run off the edge. It keeps you on. I mean, it blocks you off from actually just walking off the edge of these maps, doesn't it? From what I've seen,
I fell off a couple times just pushing a little bit too far because I was testing it. But yeah, you can definitely push yourself.
I mean, for the majority though, like if you run up to an edge, it's gonna give you a temporary stop at least.
It'll be like, oh, stop, don't do that.
But you can dash over the edge, so be careful with that. The color palette, though, last thing I wanted to say about this, and then I wanted to say one quick thing about the developer. The color palette, is this game not like super fucking retro fabulous with like
it's super beautiful.
It's got like the magenta and like the turquoise. It's completely like retro as hell.
Yeah.
I love the colors in it. It's great, and with the combined with the music, it's like very unique.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
but nostalgic as well.
I'll jump in and say that I really love the colors and the artwork in that game. That's mainly the thing that stood out to me. And I really liked your video when you were playing on their GKB.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that was really good.
So before we end it up, I want to ask the people who have played it for just one quick simple answer, yes or no. Would you recommend this to all of our viewers? Go down the list, guys.
Yes. 10 out of 10, I would recommend it for sure. I mean, go into it expecting a hard game.
I said one short answer.
Okay. I got one more thing to say about it anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, I would recommend it for sure.
What about you, Bear?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Yeah.
Tommy?
I'd recommend it, and I actually like it better than Inside, so don't shoot me. But yeah, it's a better game.
You and I know. You and I in the comments are both saying that, man.
Yeah, I agree
it's
too.
A better game.
Yeah, it's way better.
That, I kind of do. I kind of agree with you, bro. I am finding myself liking this game more than Inside.
Absolutely agree with that.
Wow.
All right, Brutal, do your thing and end up your
indie discussion.
All right.
Segment.
Last thing I want to say, it's just a cool story that I found about the developer Matt Preston, who is the lead developer Alex Preston. I'm sorry, yeah, who's the lead developer for Heart Machine. He was actually been like battling, I guess, heart disease his whole life, I guess this game is like a tribute to the battle of fighting through all these like crippling heart diseases, which I think is badass. That this guy just decided to make one of the best indie games I've played in a long time as like a tribute to like his combat with his health issues that he was born with. So I think that's really cool.
Not only that, wasn't he actually in and out of the hospital while he was doing this?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like, damn, he's strong. That's crazy.
That is definitely amazing.
To touch on that real quick, there is something that I've noticed that happens to the character throughout the game. I think is very symbolic of that.
Yeah, that because he like breaks down and starts coughing and stuff. Like, your character's afflicted with some like unknown disease.
Spoilers.
Well, this isn't.
It happens like right away.
They do it right away.
Oh, okay.
It never like directly says it, but like you just like in the middle of like walking through a map, you'll just like break down and start coughing up blood. Like,
oh wow. And
it never really touches on why that's happening, or as far as I've gotten into it. I haven't completed the game yet, but
cool.
Definitely. Awesome. All right, so we are going to move into the next topic. What are your opinions when it comes to exclusives? Do you guys think that they are a good thing, a bad thing, or do you guys think that they could just actually be becoming a thing of the past? We're going to start with GKB on this.
Let's see. Probably gonna get a lot of hate for this one, but I really this generation's kind of a tell that exclusives really don't matter anymore. Honestly,
I love you.
Yeah,
gonna go.
Yeah, and you can see that. Like, I mean, I'm not a sales guy. I don't really care about sales, but I mean, you can see it with like Quantum Break and all the other ones, Uncharted and all that stuff. They're just not selling that well anymore, and I think that's kind of due to the fact that they're kind of stuck in one player base. Like, if they opened it up or went to PC and Xbox and all that, you'd see probably double, triple the numbers. And
Titanfall 2 is a perfect example of this.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of my little spiel right there.
Are we going down the line, or are we just...
Yeah, just go for it, man. Go.
That didn't change.
Well, I kind of like GKB and I have had this conversation like many times, like in person together. Like, I'm a big supporter of gaming rather than a specific console. Yes, I like Xbox. I prefer Xbox, but I'm a big supporter of content. If a game delivers good content, I don't care what console it's on. If I enjoy playing it, I'm going to play it. And I think that exclusives hurt that. If developers move to be trying to be an exclusive one way or the other, it damages the overall environment that this game can be developed for, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, how many exclusive games have changed the face of a console or changed the face of a company? The only one that I thought of that GKB and I were talking about was Halo. I mean, how often does for an exclusive to have actual depth and to have actual meaning, it needs to capture an audience enough to the point where it wants to bring people back to your console. And
I would say Uncharted for the PS3. I would add on to that.
I agree with that for sure. I mean, and that's kind of like the thing. Like, you got Uncharted. It's kind of like PlayStation's like poster boy right now, and you got Master Chief. So you got Nathan Drake and Spartan 117 are like the poster boys of these two like franchises right now, right?
Right.
I mean, how many other games can you really name though that have benefited the console itself?
Well, here's the thing too. Like, when you talk about like those two like big franchises for either system, like if you look at Uncharted, like there's 43 million player base on the PlayStation, but it's only sold a couple million, which is not bad. Like, that's a really good thing for a game there. But like, that's kind of the thing is like, would it do better on more consoles than just one? I don't know.
Truthfully, when it comes
of course.
Go Fox.
No, I was just gonna say I think it would make a difference. I mean, if it went to Xbox or another console or even PC, I think it would sell way more. Obviously, the game is very popular. I don't know anybody who hasn't played Uncharted like personally, close friends and whatnot. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, personally, when it comes to exclusives, if you want to give it to like one console for like a certain amount of time, like I don't know, say 3 or 6 months, or something like that, then fine. Let it be on the one console because, of course, that is the brand that you're paying for. But then allow the developers to put their game out to everyone to enjoy. Don't hold it just to yourself. When these developers alone, this is what they live off of. They need the money to be able to go to and create the next games. Without having the money base that they get from their games, that kind of depends whether or not there's going to be a sequel, or whether they're going to be able to make another AAA or have to downgrade to an indie, or there's a lot of factors that are put into it when it comes to an exclusive. And I just think with that, they should put a little more thought into the devs and the fans itself as well.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it just revealed that Inside is coming to PS4 in August? The trophy's already up on PS4. So yeah, I mean, that was quite the short-lived quote unquote exclusive. But yeah.
Well, like for me, every time I come to this question, I always the first thing that hits my brain are always like reasons of why exclusives can be a good thing. But then as soon as I follow down that thought process, there's always the flip side of it. It's like, well, but then if you did this, like that still works as well. Because I want to say for the developers, it's really good for them, because when you sign that marketing deal with whatever console or whatever platform you're going exclusive with, that's a huge influx of cash into your development process, which will help you get across the finish line, which obviously is a good thing for the developers to help them get their job done. But then at the same time, you're like, well, but if you sold it on more consoles, then you've got more pre-orders, and then looking like into sequels and into your future products, it's like, well, we can afford to do more on game number 2 because we made so much more money off of game number 1 because we sold it to Xbox people and PlayStation people and PC people. So it's like, I can never myself come up with like a clear answer of exclusives are good or exclusives are bad, but I can definitely agree that so far the flavor that we see of like maybe a month, like we saw with Destiny, the year exclusive was a big mistake. And I don't know if it was just the way that Bungie rolled that game out, where once Xbox people got that content, it was already out of date and it was trash.
Yeah,
but but then with everything that we've seen with the Division, with the 1 month, like everything seems fine. Like I don't see hordes and hordes of PlayStation people being super upset about stuff. It's just Xbox people get it a month sooner. Next month, everyone's on the same boat, and everything works. Like that flavor seems nice.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There's always like two sides to everything. Obviously, there's the good and the bad. So even if you try to say, exclusives are a good thing because of this, of course there's going to be other reasons why it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I did a video a while back, and I talked about why exclusives do matter, and I kind of still feel that way in a very innocent way, because it matters to the consumers. It matters to the people that are buying those consoles that don't know which console they want. So in my video, I said that it helps people decide what console they're going to get. So if they see Master Chief and they think he looks pretty cool, then they'll lean more towards the Xbox. If they see Uncharted and all their friends are playing Uncharted, then they'll lean more towards that way. So it helps the person that's actually going to buy the system choose the right console for them with the right games that they want to play. Obviously, also, where your friends are matter as well. But I actually did that video, and I got some really interesting comments, especially from a PC guy that had just done a video saying that he wants exclusives to disappear because he wants every game to be everywhere, and obviously for the developers and all that. But he actually commented and said, wow, that's a really good way of thinking about it. I never saw it that way. So now we're friends, and everything's all good.
Nice.
Yeah.
The other thing to that too, Fox, I mean, that's fantastic points. But like how like Microsoft's going to like the Play Anywhere and everything like that, like I hope we get to a point where it doesn't really matter what you're on, you're just playing games, and
right.
I could play on Xbox, you could play on PC, this one could play on PlayStation, and we all play together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool if we could have all crossplay as well.
Yeah, but you still have that weirdness on PC though, then, because you still have your Play Anywhere games. They're still separate from like Steam games, so there's always going to be like that division wherever you go, and even with Play Anywhere, that division's still gonna exist. And the other thing that always pops up into my head, which is a lot of what you touched on there, Fox, is that like there's that flavor. there's always something. There's something about what makes the Xbox kind of feel different than the PlayStation or than playing on PC, and I like that because there's so many people who are new people coming into gaming all the time, and it's nice for them because if there's assume there's like one console, there's console gaming or PC gaming. Like if console gaming as the whole hypothetically didn't really feel like home to you, then that person, they're never going to be fully satisfied. And what's good about having the Xbox and the PlayStation and Nintendo and all these options available is that you can find something where you feel at home. The console that's got, whatever, if it's controller design, if it's online features, if it's the games, like everything about it, you can find something where you fit.
Right.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Before we go to the next topic, I want to hear Tommy, what do you think about exclusives? Do you think they're relevant? Do you think they're pretty much just gone, or should they keep them?
Well, everyone's kind of touched on a lot of my opinions on exclusives. I'll try to be brief with it. Exclusives, I think, this generation haven't been that important, and I think you're going to see that trend continue. I do think, however, exclusives are really important at the launch of a new console. Because I know when, like, say, Xbox originally launched and Halo was an exclusive title, that sold consoles. So I think exclusives do matter. I just think as the lifespan of the console goes on, it matters less and less.
So then you pretty much think that, like, have an exclusive... So it kind of goes back to Asthmatic's thing, like maybe a month or something,
Yeah.
or a certain time limit, so, it still values to sell the console, but then at the same time, the game does eventually go to everyone else. And they don't have to officially announce either that this game is going to other consoles later on. They could actually only say, hey, this is only going to be, say Xbox, and then a couple months down the line, like, they don't have to give a date. So they could always announce that later so that they can actually get the best value out of selling consoles and whatnot if that's what they need to do with it.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's important to the consumer, as Fox said. It's important for them to sell consoles, but I think overall for the developers, it's not necessarily their most financial, to their financial benefit.
Definitely agree. Does anybody else have anything last to quickly add before we move on to the next topic?
I'm good.
I think we nailed it.
Good.
We got it.
Awesome. All right. So next we are going to be moving into the topic of, it has been confirmed that Deus Ex has gone gold. Are we excited? Have you been waiting for this game? Let's start with Asthmatic.
Oh man, you got the guy who's so outside the loop on Deus Ex to start this one off.
Great, then it'll be a funny topic to start with.
I know. Deus Ex is one of those games that was like it started out, it was a big deal when I was younger, when I was like pretty much like 100% Halo, like that was it. Came home from school, played Halo, went to sleep, done. Rinse and repeat tomorrow. So it was a game that I didn't really get that much into at the beginning, and then as a result, now it feels to me like this franchise that I'm so far behind on, and it's kind of hard for me to get into. But the one thing that I can say for sure about it is I love that every time there's new news about this game, there's people cropping up that are so excited to hear more. People are pre-ordering. People are excited to get involved with this new title. So honestly, right now, I'm more excited to hear what you guys on the panel have to say about it.
I think it's pretty dope, man. I think the graphics look amazing in this game. I love the environments. It's almost kind of like post-apocalyptic, but not really. I like the fact that the game's like pretty set in the future, or pretty far in the future, but the weapons and stuff still feel like normal weapons. They're not like energy weapons. They're not shooting some laser beams that I've seen at this point. I like how you could start before the mission, like you could pick lethal and non-lethal. I think that's really cool. I'm a big Splinter Cell guy, so I'd probably do more of the non-lethal so you can like stealth around and just, try and navigate through the boards and stuff like that. So I think the story looks really cool. You're kind of like augmented people, kind of normal people is not really liking you at this point. And it's almost like at the tipping point now, like a war is just about to begin and everybody's just going to be all out like chaos, and I really like that dynamic, and it's going to keep me playing this game for quite a while.
Yeah, like the end of the last Deus Ex kind of fed into coming into Mankind Divided. They confirmed that the storyline is going to be a continuation, which is which I wanted to see because like these games have been building up to like this climactic point, kind of like you said. There's like kind of like on the verge of this war, right?
Yeah.
And the way that going back to what you were saying about how you can go with either like this like non-lethal or lethal tactic that you want to choose. The developers have been very adamant about like that either path you choose is going to be very rewarding, which I like because I mean a lot of games tend to lean one way or the other, right? So you either can be tactical or you can like there's games that are based to be tactical, and if you decide to go lethal and just go all out, guns blazing, you can get through the game, but it's not going to give you the experience that they wanted you to receive. And giving that, if it produces like I'm thinking it's going to, I'm really excited to see how the storyline changes between being stealth or being full out guns blazing. I think that's going to be a cool aspect to the game. What about the rest of you guys? What do you guys think?
I think this game is going to be I think that it's in a really strong position to do very well this fall. It's the first major game that I think kicks off the fall release schedule. It's ahead of the crowd. I think it's going to get a lot of people on that basis alone. I think the delay was really smart. I think that also get people to get over. I don't even know if people remember it, but they were Deus Ex were the people who got busted for having like that super bullshit pre-order thing. Where like if enough people pre-order, they would just release their game early, and there was so much backlash behind that. So between polishing the game and that backlash, I think that moving it will be a very good thing. As everyone's saying, like I love games that will allow you to go from start to finish without killing. I think that I don't know. It's always a challenge. I love it because I'll play like 6 hours, no kills, and I'll get pissed once, and I'll just ruin the whole thing. But I look forward to doing that again in Deus Ex. No, it's going to be a good release. I'm really looking forward to it.
So let me ask you guys then, because this game does look awesome, and I love to hear the way you guys are talking about it. Do you think, for someone who hasn't played the original, is that something that new players should go back and do, or does the new game look like something that I can just dive right into?
I think if you, speaking as somebody who's only played Human Revolution, I think that this game will probably be super approachable, and I think they know that. Like I think that people just expect that like when your franchise, I think Deus Ex is almost 20 years old now, if not already 20 years old.
Yeah,
I think that I think they just know that like, hey, we can't expect everybody to like know everything about the lore. No, and I think it's entirely new antagonists, you know. So I don't think you need to come in knowing anybody except for the main character. So no, I think it'll be an approachable game.
I think that it's this day and age, man. Like, if you try to just cater only to the people that are your diehards that have been playing since day one, you're gonna fail either way. Because people are going to pick up the game and they're going to be like, "Oh, this game doesn't make any sense." So I think it's a big thing for developers to focus on to make the game approachable, whether you've played it from day one or you're picking it up as the first in the series that you've ever played. Me, like I'm always a big fan of the lore behind games, so I always like to try. Like I would probably go back and play them if I hadn't played any of them yet, just to understand the lore behind the games, because that's a big selling factor to me in games. But for the average person that just wants to pick up a game and have a good game to play, I think that you could jump into this right away.
Me personally, I haven't actually really played the first one. I have it on 360, but haven't actually played it. So I'm interested to see, jumping into this game and trying it. I did see the gameplay or trailer, whichever you want to call it, and it definitely was interesting. The graphics were pretty nice, so I'm definitely intrigued to see what this game is going to bring. What about you, Tommy? We haven't heard from you on this game yet.
I'm pretty excited for this game. I've never played the original Deus Ex games, but I've played Human Revolution and absolutely loved that game. I played through it completely non-lethal, and I do that whenever I given the option. So I'm very excited for this game. I might actually play through the Human Revolution again before this comes out in August, since it's backwards compatible. I'm just hoping, I haven't seen much on this part yet, but I'm hoping they fix maybe some of the boss battles, because the Revolution the boss battles kind of fell out of place if you're doing a full playthrough.
Yeah.
They outsourced them. Yeah, that's what happened.
Totally,
with the last
you
game.
can tell it too.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. What about you, Fox?
Not really like my type of game. I tried it on the 360, but definitely this one looks way better, and I saw some gameplay. It looks way better than the first one. But yeah, it's not really my type of game. Who knows? I might give it another shot, because I do have the backwards compatible one.
Alright, well, as we are starting to crunch down time, guys, we are starting to go on that 2 hours, and we still have a segment to jump into, so we are going to quickly do that, and this, of course, is Bears Review.
Take it away, Bert.
Okay, so for this week's review, we're going to be talking about the game preview version of We Happy Few. It launched last week. I know it's a pretty anticipated title on Xbox, so I'm sure a lot of you have played it, and for that reason, the panel is also going to be involved in this review more than usual. But I'll get us started. So my first thing I noted is that even though the game is still in game preview, I think it's leagues ahead of previous Compulsion games that I've played, at least. I think the game is incredibly ambitious, but I also feel like part of what holds the game back the most is they released a trailer that kind of set up a perception that the game was going to be linear, and then when I played the final version of the game, I couldn't help but be basically tremendously disappointed. I kind of want to open that up to the rest of the panel.
I wasn't disappointed. I guess because I went into this with like really no expectations. I know I saw some trailers, but I try and do that with playing new games. I try to like just wipe my brain of everything I know and just play the game for what it is. I did like the narrative driven stuff in the beginning way more than the second part of the game, but I thought even the second part of the game was kind of enjoyable. I just felt like it was jarring after you went through, and then you wake up in this other world, and it's just a completely different experience than the first. So I could definitely see like a lot of people's perception when they saw the trailer. You know, they were thinking like BioShock and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't really put that on the devs and all that kind of stuff. I that's kind of like, you know, we always say like keep your expectations in check. It might not be what you actually think it is. You know, it might be something completely different. But
I guess one of my chief complaints is that they've shown the game a couple of times, and not just at big conferences. It's been an alpha. And if you want to go watch the alpha, they feature crafting in there. But none of the developer videos really talk about the emphasis on crafting. And even things like the procedurally generated world, I think that was, and I talked about this in my review a little bit, the full version of my review should be going up tomorrow, by the way. But one of my things I talk about in the review is that the procedurally generated world is a very, very cool concept that doesn't really make a big impact on gameplay, in my opinion. Like, it was like something that's really cool, but then I'm like, but does it really do anything substantial that makes the game different from predecessors or other games in the genre? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Like, because you know, when they say when you die, like it pretty much makes a brand new world. It like generates a new world for you. But like when I woke up and walked around, it kind of like still looked the same. It didn't really look too much different. So yeah.
When I died, I got beat with a stick and died, and it was the same thing when I woke up. But that could be because it's an alpha, though. Like,
did you have permadeath on? Because that's the thing they give you in the beginning. Because if you have permadeath on, then the world will be the same. Or I'm sorry, if you're permadeath on, then everything will get wiped when you die. But if you have permadeath off, it will be the same when you respawn.
Yeah.
So basically, like half your, I don't know about you guys, but when a game asks me if I want permadeath, I turn it off because like I don't want to play. I
turn
put
it on.
like. Okay, yeah. See, I played like several hours of this game, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to bust out a review. I'm not trying to get very far and then have to restart. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like permadeath in games personally.
I actually like permadeath mostly because I think of this game as like I do when I play Binding of Isaac, as like almost like a roguelike survival type game. But touching on the trailer, as you guys mentioned before, I knew this game was a survival game, so my expectations were fine going into it. I knew what to expect, but I can see how someone that might not be as into games as us might have had totally different expectations for what to expect from it.
Well, it's just, when it comes to this game, I did have some issues with the fact that, yes, their trailers didn't really show what we expected, but at the same time, they still could have, had some example of the fact that it was actually a survival game. And, I thought it was kind of, truthfully, I didn't think it was like BioShock or nothing. I didn't compare it to that, but I did, think it was going to be like more of an RPG style game where I was just kind of running through, not that I had to sleep every 5 minutes to make sure I wasn't going to die, or make sure I had food and all this other stuff. I really didn't expect that going into it, and especially even with the quests and stuff where they really don't give you much detail about what you have to do and what your objective is, was kind of lacking. But I really did enjoy the game and the graphics though.
Well, and now one of my things, and I want to see what you guys think, is I think the concept of crafting works. I think that so far there's a lot of things to craft, but there's 6 different components, and that's kind of an issue to me. But one of my things is that I actually like what you were saying. I didn't like the fact that you had to maintain things like your sleep. It just made because every time I'd get close to being able to finish an objective, my guy's like, "Oh, I better take a nap now, or you better eat, or you better drink." Yeah. The first time I died in that game wasn't from being hit. It was from, I think it was either starvation or thirst. That's, and again, genres are different. If that's something that you like, that level of immersion, then I think We Happy Few could probably do a lot for you. But to me, I was just I do this in real life. This isn't what I'm looking to do when I play my games.
Survival games are kind of hit or miss with people. It's you either like them or you don't. And I don't know, majority probably doesn't because they're so involved. It's resource management, it's crafting, it's finding things and stuff like that. So, I kind of dig it. I don't like them all. I think some of them are really out of balance, but I was really enjoying We Happy Few for me.
Well, here's a quick question for you, Barrett. Chicken Spaghetti keeps asking, did you cross the bridge?
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the things that took a long time is you have to do many side quests to get to the main objective.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you cross the bridge, one of the things that I found the most challenging is if you don't cross the bridge with a huge stockpile of joy. Let's get
you're gonna find out real quick.
Yeah. Let's get some context. So when he's talking about crossing the bridge, it's this idea of you're kind of in this run-down shanty town, and then you cross to the part of the city where everything is, good and everybody's taking their medicine. Now, the second you cross that bridge and you run out of medicine, you will get caught very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's part of the game's crafting management, but kind of like what She-Wolf is saying, the game doesn't really tell you how much management you need to go. It'll give you an objective, and then you'll get to where you need to be, and you'll realize that you're woefully underprepared. And that's one of the things I found frustrating. And it sucks because crossing the bridge was easily one of the most interesting environments in the game. But again, because they didn't stress the fact that hey, you should get supplies before you cross the bridge, I was fucked the second I got there. So and that's one of the things I didn't like about the game is it just felt like they'd give you objectives and then you start to do them and you'd accidentally fail them. And I don't know. Specifically, there was one where I was giving mysterious linen for a side quest, and I accidentally failed it, and I have no idea how. Yeah, it wasn't a game. And look, everybody likes crafting games differently, but We Happy Few has to be one of the biggest disappointments I've had this year. And again, it's a game preview, and that's one of the things I stress in my review. There's a lot of stuff that can change, especially because they said they look to be in the game preview for 6 to 12 months. But just look, I guess I just feel like the procedurally generated world doesn't do enough to make me wish that I was playing an open world game. I honestly just wish the intro prologue is so much more engaging as a linear thing than any of the open world stuff that I just wish I was playing a linear game. Yeah, I was just disappointed in a lot of fronts, and I know that's probably not popular both in this panel or in the comments, but that's how I felt.
If you're saying they're going to be in game preview for a long time, do you think in that period of time, based on how deeply set the things about the game that make it a disappointment, how are those too deeply set that they can't be changed, or do you feel like this is a game that can truly turn around from being part of game preview and become what everyone wants it to be?
Sorry.
I think if they take the beginning part, the narrative driven stuff and kind of add that throughout the survival stuff, so you could take a break from the survival, go into some more narrative driven stuff to progress the story along and stuff like that, I think it will do a lot better. But if this first part's the only narrative and maybe like the ending or some cutscenes here and there, probably a lot of people get turned off with the survival stuff because it is difficult. It's a lot of resource management and stuff like that. So.
And that bums me out because like I like playing Fallout, but I don't play I can't remember if it's called hardcore or survival, but there's a mode in Fallout where it's like you have to manage everything like that. I don't play that just because that's not the kind of gamer I am. But I have a friend who is super into that style of game, and so I'm looking at it like saying, you don't want to make a survival game that only has the super insane difficulty. Like, even if you go down as far as like Minecraft has like a permadeath difficulty if you want to do it that way, but at the same time, there's probably 90% of the player base who plays the game without that on, and the same with all of your big survival games. And so to see a game like this now that's been so heavily marketed to only have that super intense difficult mode, it's like obviously that's going to just turn away 80 or 90% of your potential player base. So I don't understand why they would go about it. And I've downloaded it, but I haven't had the time to jump in and play it yet, and I'm very, very happy actually hearing you guys talk about it, how I went into it with expectation A, but then when it gave me Q, that pissed me off. Now I'm excited to get into it now, knowing that, hey, this is the way it plays. Don't necessarily believe the hype. Like, this is how it plays. So.
And one of my things that it will end up determining a lot of how successful this game is in my eyes is how they can deliver on the story once the game comes into full retail. The game will have 3 different protagonists, but it isn't totally clear right now how that level of interaction is going to work. Like in Grand Theft Auto 5, they've got 3 protagonists, but their stories are so intertwined that it doesn't really feel that way. Yeah. But if you just have 3 separate stories being told in parallel, it's not going to create like a coherent thing. Like, I don't know. I think that the dialogue is really well written. Like, for those of you in the panel who have played it, I love that, like, the way you talk to people and, like, even the monologues, particularly that Arthur had with himself, are, like, really great. Like, the voice actor is fantastic. Yeah, they're really good. Like, I just don't feel like the overarching story is there. It reminds me of Destiny or Dark Souls in very light ways, in that you have to collect lore to really put together and answer some of the questions the game poses. Like, is it an alt history game? What's going on in the greater world where everyone's just taking drugs? Like, the whole idea is that you're trying to forget history, right? But why are you trying to forget history? And, like, that's something that the game preview doesn't answer. And ultimately, like, I think that Compulsion Games has created an interesting thing, an interesting game, but I just don't think that it was ready for game preview. I don't think there's enough meat on the bones.
Well, with saying that, then, can I ask you, or even everybody on here, the price tag of this game is $30.
No. Yeah, too high.
No, yeah, it's too high. I agree.
Too high.
I like it, and I still agree it's too high.
Yeah.
Yeah. $30. Well, my thing is when the game first boots up, they say this is approximately 50% of our final retail product. That scares me. because there's just not enough variety in what I played to justify that was 50% of your game and your so because okay when you say this is 50% of your game, I'm assuming that $30 is 50% of your retail. This game in no way should be $60 ever unless they add substantially more content than they're saying they're going to. This is like $20 maybe.
Yeah, maybe $20. I agree with that for sure.
Yep. And I know I'm critical, and that's just kind of my.
$20 now or $20 when it's finished.
Oh, someone's botting.
I think it's Asthmatic.
Oh.
Yeah, Asthmatic.
Sorry, did you say $20 now or $20 when it's finished? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said $20 is not like a $20 game review, or you think this is shaping up to be a $20 full
Asthmatic, you might have to like leave and come back because you're so crackly that it's hard to understand you.
I heard him. So what he says is it $20 now or $20 when it's final retail? I think it should be probably $20 in game preview and maybe $30 at final release. Like I said, when people are in game preview, you are getting the luxury of playing a game before launch. But when I hear this is 50% of your final game and things are janky as all hell, like no, like game preview should be like, hey, we haven't quite finished the story, or hey, we haven't quite added everything we want to add. But like this game is like rough around the edges mechanics, half of the story, shallow crafting. Like it doesn't justify its price tag. And I'm more critical than anybody else in this podcast, but that's really it's just tough.
I'll just jump in. No, I'll just jump in here right quick and say that that's why I'm worried to actually play the game, because I downloaded it and I watched a lot of people playing it. GKB had a video, She-Wolf did a live stream, other people did live streams, and I'm worried that if I play the game, I'm not going to enjoy it because I was so hyped for this game. And yes, I did hope that it was like BioShock, so that's kind of like my own fault a little bit because I was hoping it was like BioShock. And seeing other people playing it worries me because I do not like games like Minecraft and Ark and 7 Days to Die or stuff like that. So I don't enjoy those type of games. So I booted up the game and I played the whole intro cinematic thing that they showed us in E3. So I thought that was cool. GKB was playing the video here while we were talking about it, and I was just like, yeah, I love that video. I love the whole beginning of it, but I stopped playing right after that because I didn't want to play the rest of the game and then all my hopes and dreams die with it, you know? So I was kind of like worried, like, okay, I'll just wait. So in my head, I'm like, maybe I'll just wait until they're done or when they update the game more, because I am interested in the story. And if the game comes out and it has more story like it did in the beginning, in the rest of the game, I will buy this game. But if it's just like how it ended up being in the gameplay, I might not be interested in it. But eventually I will play it and I'll know for sure, because that type of game isn't my favorite. Like that whole survival, crafting, collecting, I don't really like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Can I ask a quick question really quick? I know we're dragging on a bit, but for you guys who got past and again, without getting into spoiler territory, granted there's not much story, when you get past the initial prologue and you're in the area where you do objectives and it's more open world, was your procedurally generated world still just 4 squares attached by bridges, basically?
Yeah.
That's what mine was. Right. So that's and again, I'm not trying to be a dick. They're an indie developer. They're smaller. Like that's pretty bad game design. Like just 4 small squares attached by bridges. I don't mean to be critical, but I just mean like that's not good world design. Like you can't just like the way the game works is that you have to complete an objective across a bridge, and that's all you do in the game preview version is find different ways to cross each of the bridges. And like I get that I'm being really critical, but like let me put it this way, and again, panel, this is absolutely your show as much, more so than it is mine. I don't recommend picking up this game at the current price point. I just can't. Unless you're a diehard fan. Yeah, unless you're a diehard fan, I just of survival games, I can't recommend it.
Or you buy it, but don't play it till it fully releases, people.
Well, that's the other thing. If you're like
maybe right there, yeah.
Yeah, if you're like wanting to get on board early, because you probably won't have to pay anymore if you get on the preview program thing. So that's the other thing.
Especially if the rumor is to be $60, then it's definitely worth picking it up now and then having to pay full price. But
early adopter 50% discount.
Yeah, so it all goes down to, of course, your preference. Just be careful, watch trailers, watch reviews, watch what you guys are doing before buying this game. Brutal or Tommy, you guys got anything to add in before we move into the last part of the show?
Go ahead, Brutal.
I was just going to say I'm very happy to hear you guys' reviews on this, so I don't have to buy it.
I'm still worried about this game.
That's it.
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried for it too. Honestly, I only bought it because I really wanted to do. I wanted to do a write up for it for my site that I just started. So which I do have on my site, gamingwithtommy.com. Otherwise I would not have bought this just from the trial. But it is good. It has promise. I do enjoy what I've played, but it wasn't not $30 enjoyment.
Agree. All right, Bear, if you don't have any last little things to say, we will move on to one question as we are kind of coming close to the show now before ending.
Okay, let's go.
Alrighty then. So we have one question. It is from Tembo Tanker. Do you think the Xbox One S will bring in many new people to Xbox One from previous 360 owners, or mainly just sell to Xbox owners already?
I think the different SKUs are like towards different people. Like I think the 2 terabyte one that they release is more for the hardcore already got an Xbox, such as myself and maybe some of the others. The different SKUs,
Yeah.
though, the bundles like the Halo one and all that kind of stuff, it's like great value. I think that's geared towards people that don't have an Xbox and want them to come over and all that kind of stuff. So
Definitely agree. I think it's a little bit for both. I know some people that they got the console right now, and they're casuals. I mean, they don't play that much, so I think it's for a little bit of both.
Anybody else want to comment in on this?
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Asthmatic.
No, I was just going to say I think GKB hit it right on the head that it caters to both parties, whether you're the casual who has been waiting for the right time. Like, here it is. These bundles are at the great price with great games.
heck yeah.
Definitely agree. Anybody else?
Similarly, I think this game, especially considering the price point, is the absolute. Like, honestly, if you don't have a next-gen console yet, if you're still selling 360, that's okay. But I think the Xbox One S is, especially at the $300 price point, is absolutely the right time to make the jump. And I think it's probably that's probably going to be the demographic that it's going to appeal to the most. That being said, like I said earlier in the show, I harped on it. If you have a 4K TV, it totally makes sense to upgrade your console as well.
Yep.
Definitely. Brutal, you got anything to say?
Let me understand. Is the question, is it going to be bringing people over to Xbox?
Yes.
The question is?
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you think that it's more targeted to getting new people or to the people who already have Xbox?
I think it's probably more catered to people that already have an Xbox. I think Microsoft's big power play is going to be the Scorpio if you're really going to be converting people, if you will, to the Xbox side. I mean, they're going to sell it on the power, and I don't think there's a lot of incentive to bring people over to Microsoft if you're not already a Microsoft fan at this point. So I think that the real draw factor is going to come from the Scorpio, not the Xbox S.
That's very true. What about you, Tommy? Do you got anything to add?
Well, I kind of opposite view of Brutal a little bit. I think this is for.
How dare you!
I know. I'm sorry, sir. I think this is for both the hardcore and the casual market. I think Microsoft's really trying to erase the memories of the previous Xbox image with this and rebrand it. So I think it's catering to both demographics. The Scorpio, I feel like, is for people like us, the hardcore. I don't think the casual buyer is going to get that, at least anytime when it launches.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think that they're trying to establish themselves as how they were in the 360 era again and remove the stigma they had for the last 3 years.
Yep, well said.
Agree. All right. So with that being said, we are kind of cutting time short now. So we would like to thank everyone who has come and hung out in the chat today. It was amazing. You guys were great. And of course, community game time is always at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. And this week, poll winner, of course, my favorite game of all, Titanfall. So, of course, that is the game we will be playing. I hope you are all ready, and I hope you all bring it.
Yeah.
What?
She rigged it.
I did not rig it.
Recount.
I voted for Titanfall.
Oh, see,
I voted Doom.
People actually voted.
She gave you a gift card, didn't she? I'm kidding.
I did.
She promised me to be on her team so she won't kill me.
Okay, there it is.
What did you post? Did you post this poll? Did you hide this from me? Because I didn't see this at all.
It was posted, and people actually commented.
I don't know about that.
Or maybe you just ignore my Twitter page.
Sometimes.
Yeah, all the time. Anyways, so everybody is welcome. If you are on Xbox Live, the chat starts at 9:30, and hey, it does fill up quick, people, so make sure you get in there fast and be ready to game out. We will be live streaming, so you can, if you do not get in the chat, you will be able to join us on chat on stream. So make sure you check that out. Again, that is Xbox Live.
We'll be on Twitch and YouTube streaming.
Yes, this week will be Twitch and because GKB has an Xbox again.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, with that being said, I just want to say thank you, everybody, and now we are going to go to each one of these amazing gamers and let them give out their shoutouts and what they are doing and how you can find them. So, we're going to go down the line, starting with, of course, our guest, Tommy Guns.
I just want to thank you guys. Shout out to you, She Wolf and GKB for inviting me on the show and the rest of the panel. It was really fun to be on. I do blog, and my website is gamingwithtommy.com. You can find me at Sir Tommy Guns on Twitter, and same as my Xbox Live gamer tag, the same thing. So reach out and read my stuff. Leave me some feedback. I'd love to improve on it. And thanks for having me.
No problem, man.
Amazing article, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Amazing.
appreciate that.
It was, definitely.
Yeah, Tommy's a great writer. Go check his blog for sure.
Heck yeah.
Next, we are moving on to Asthmatic.
What's going on? I promise I don't just copy whatever they're doing. I had already planned to be doing Titanfall on my game night on Thursday night. I don't do votes.
Copy!
The way I'm running Thursday night game night right now is we're gonna switch between Battlefield 4 and Titanfall. So, which is apparently what the community likes, because that seems that they keep to be voting in on Saturdays. So, sounds like a good deal. I do plan to be streaming a little bit more on YouTube and hopefully integrating some Twitch in the next couple months, but that's kind of far off in the future. You can always find me here on YouTube at Asthmatic, and I'm over on Twitter at Asthmatic117, Xbox Live, Asthmatic405, and I do apologize for having pretty much a different name on every platform in the future. I want to bring them all together. But there's that one guy on Xbox who has the gamer tag, and there's that one guy on Twitter who's got the Bear Asthmatic, but we'll get there one day. But thank you guys so much for all the support. 350 subs this week. It's been great. Got some new videos coming out for you guys. Super excited to keep going.
Cool.
Awesome. That is amazing. And Fox, what about you?
I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. That's pretty awesome. We had a lot of people. We had some good topics, so I'm happy with today's show. And you guys can follow me on YouTube. I'm going to be doing a video pretty soon with my Xbox One collection. And you guys can follow me on Twitter and Twitch as Lady Foxfire. And yeah, I'll be back here on Console Corner next week.
Yeah.
Woo! Awesome. And Brutal, what about you?
I don't know about you guys, but has the show just been getting just real sexy lately? It's just been really. I've been really digging these past few shows we've been doing. And
How much have you been drinking?
I've only drank 6 beers, so I got plenty to
Just
go
6.
before the night's over.
He's got a point, though. I think I agree with him, though. As a viewer, I agree with him.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
no,
the show's been
on
like.
the show, it's all, and I don't think it really takes pickup lines. No.
Never know. No, you can catch me Brutal Night. It's just how you see it right there. BREWTALKNIGHT. Across all platforms, unlike Asthmatic.
Oh.
Lucky.
Don't expect much from my YouTube though, because I'm kind of at a standstill right now. So, other than that, I'll be playing video games. If you guys want to come hit me up on Xbox Live, that's where I'm spend most of my time at. And we're looking forward to. We got Shop Podcast on Saturday. Shout out to Jay Williams for my logos, and some of the other people's logos on the channel as well.
Woo!
That is about it. Oh, and definitely please. For our guest tonight, Tommy, please go check out his blog. His blog and his website are excellent. He's a great writer.
Heck yeah.
I really thoroughly enjoy reading his stuff. And thank you for everybody for coming out and watching. And that's it.
Thanks, Brutal.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And what about you, Bear?
Yeah, so again, as everybody's been saying, thanks to everybody who's come and hang out tonight, especially the people with the endurance who have made it through the whole show. That's impressive. Let's see.
Oh my God. I don't mean
so-
to cut you off, Fox.
No.
I hope you reread your thing because you said thank you for everyone for hanging us as always.
Hell yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bear. Continue.
No, you're good. So yeah, again, thanks everybody for hanging out. So tomorrow, We Happy Few review. If you're lucky, I'll also have a Batman review up. If not, that will be going up on Thursday. Been really busy. Other than that, I've got articles on my website. Again, if you want to read them, you should probably go to barracklawgaming.com or just follow me on Twitter because I plug all of my shit there too. Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I'm glad that we had such a strong panel tonight. That was great.
We got a lot of great writers here and a lot of great gamers. Make sure you check them out. And of course, last but not least, GKB.
What's up, everybody? It's the Governor. I agree with Brutal. I think we have a damn sexy show, and it's freaking awesome. Like, look at this
Thank you.
Look at these panel of people on here,
How
man.
much have you been drinking, GKB?
A shit ton, but it's all true. It doesn't matter.
Hey, I just said the channel might not like pickup lines. That's all.
That's all right. That's my thing.
Well, I'm gonna throw them at him all the time. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and YouTube. Gamers Knows Best. Everybody knows. We love you guys. Thanks for rocking out with us. And we'll be on Xbox Nation and Shop Podcasts, as always.
Awesome. And of course, I was your host, She-Wolf, for tonight's episode. You can find me on Twitter at xshewolfx. It's a U instead of an O. You can also find me at the exact same thing for Xbox, so you can find my gamer tag there. You can also find me on Gamers Knows Best, as I am co-host with GKB, and you can find me on Xbox Nation. I also write a community article for ICXM, so make sure you check that out as well. Thank you everyone for coming. It was an amazing show, and it was great hanging out with you all.
See ya.